telling you, people on the plane were really annoyed with me playing this harmonica.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Thursday, November 21st, 2013. Time for your Gitmo Nation Media Assassination, episode 567.
This is No Agenda.
Freezing my butt off as we await the 11-city skating tour from the heart of Amsterdam and Gitmo Nation Lowlands. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from Gitmo Nation Mouse Ears, I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
So you had, 3 days and several hours to prepare what you were going to say, but no, he waits for the intro to say Gitmo Nation Mouse Ears. Very nice.
Yes, I was thinking about it. Well, I had some ideas, and then I just kind of froze in my tracks. Saw the two beats, boom, boom, John's thinking. Problem. But yeah.
All right. So where are you? What's going on? What's happening?
I'm in Orlando. I'll be in Orlando till tonight, and unlike your weather, this is beautiful here. I got the doors open, and I'm getting the nice humid mid-Florida breeze. It's nice.
Okay, you want to divulge what you're doing there? I mean, you don't...
I'm at a conference that was an enterprise software operation called OpenText, where I just hosted a couple panels that were, uninspired.
Okay, in other words, someone paid you to actually leave the house, and you did. This is the amazing thing. You've been known to turn around and go home on your way to the airport.
I have done that, yes. Usually it happens in the bed, though. I'm sleeping, and the buzzer's going off at 6. I'm going, why am I getting up at 6? I mean, if somebody's paying me, I'm going to obviously get up. But if there's some volunteer thing or some...
screw volunteer work. I mean, that's
I really try to refuse all these things because I don't like... It's not that I don't like to do stuff for people that want stuff done. It's always inconvenient. It's like I have to get up really early, which is outside my schedule, or luckily we got this Thursday and Sunday thing going on, which is can't work. Thursday's out. And Sunday I got to be to do the show. Well, but once in a while, as you have noticed over the years, I'll be at something in Vegas or someplace, and we try to hook up, and it seems we have a good connection here, so this is fine.
This is decent. So I'm still in Amsterdam, for those of you who were wondering, and we'll be flying back to Austin tomorrow. And it's kind of the same thing, when I'm over here. Then it's like, well, yeah, I can't really do anything on Sunday night or Thursday night. And normally we start the show at 6 here, 6 p.m. And so instead of doing my prep all day Wednesday up until like midnight or 1 on Wednesday, I just get up on Thursday and go all day. You hear the car alarms? This is also, so we're 2 hours earlier here now. We started like a little after 4 instead of 6. So we still have construction in the street. It's a city. There's like real, and there's a car alarm going off. Very nice.
I can't hear it.
No, it's because I have the noise gate on.
Beep boop, beep boop, beep boop.
Anyway, so it's been interesting here in the lowlands. Of course, I was afraid it would happen, and indeed it did. They had a huge celebrity-filled telethon for the Philippines. The stupid Dutch. They fell for it again.
There goes the money. Where's the money supposed to go?
Well, it's interesting. So they have a central collection system. This kind of goes back to the way banking used to work in the Netherlands. Back in the day when I was a kid, we and I may still. I guess it still exists. You had the post office would also had free banking services available to the citizens, and you would have what was known as a Giro rekening or a gyro account, GIRO, and so you could take your bank book to the post office. You can say, okay, here's my book, and this is my number, and I want 25 guilders or whatever it was. Or 50 guilders, or you could go put money into your account. It was all free. And the statements and everything was all mailed around. The Postal Service, the government-run Postal Service managed all that. And you would have these little cards. And so when you had to pay a bill, like your electric bill or utilities, but pretty much any bill that you didn't pay in cash, you would take one of these kind of computerized, it was like a punch card. No, in fact, it was a punch card, now that I think of it. It was a punch card. It's the size of just a standard punch card size, and you'd fill in the number of the gyro account that you were sending the money to, and your gyro number account, and then you'd put that in an envelope. No post is necessary, and you'd send it off, and it would, the whole system would work, and you'd kind of get your statement once a month or whatever. That has obviously been overtaken by a proper banking system, quote unquote proper. But they still have the gyro system. So when they have a big, a big telethon like this, they use the standard gyro 555 number, which you can send to from your. Some people, I guess, still have the old-fashioned accounts, but you can also send to it from your bank account, and that's like a central clearinghouse. And it's that you asked this, John, but it's not really clear what happens with the money after that point. Which is kind of what makes it fun. It's like they have there's like an NGO that will attach itself to the 555 number for that particular time period, and they'll disperse it. And of course, everyone had gone through this several years ago with Haiti, and there were some questions about, well, how do we know the money's really going to get there? And everyone, all politicians, and everyone was on television assuring everybody that they had changed things, and it was all going to get to the proper organizations this time, and there would be better oversight. They have a saying here called "geld wat aan de strijkstok blijft hangen." You still with me?
Yeah.
Okay, just want to make sure I wasn't doing a soliloquy here.
It's always a funny bit. It's like when you're talking to somebody on the phone and
the phone has been disconnected.
Yeah.
And that is that's a saying that I'm not quite sure where it stems from, but what it means is when someone's playing the violin and you're using, you have your bow on the violin, like sometimes if you really push the bow all the way, it might catch a couple of banknotes, and you'd pull it back, and then you could slip it into your pocket. I'm not sure where that saying comes from.
Wow, that's a weird one.
I should have probably looked that one up. I have no idea where that comes from, but it's called...
It must have been from beggars in some day that used to play the violin on the street, and people would attach money to the end of the bow.
I'm going to look it up right now, because I should have figured that one out. Let's see, aan de strijkstok blijven hangen. Let me see where it comes from. Of course, I'm translating this on the fly. I'm going to have to look into this.
Okay, we'll do it.
But anyway, it is. It means that money is being kind of drops off. Anything that drops onto the floor, God can keep, essentially. And so they did the whole thing, man. They had all the public broadcasters, the commercial broadcasters, everything, all doing a common broadcast, and they had the celebrities manning the phones, and they had the poor people, and then of course the Filipino community dropped by, and they had cooked food for the celebrity phone bank operators. And I was just like, wow, do people never learn anything? It was, and one of our well-known singers here, Treintje Oosterhuis, she had put on Facebook, "I will donate €1 for every like that I get."
She's buying likes.
She got 200,000 likes.
Oh, yeah, now what's she going to do?
Well, and this is the funny thing, is because she got a total pass. And all the TV shows and the news, and it was like, oh, man, this is, of course she doesn't have to pay for that. I'm sure she really didn't mean it that way. She didn't expect her campaign to be so incredibly popular. But she will be giving royally, she promised us. Let me tell you something. If I had done that, I'd have the fucking cops outside the house saying, "Where's the money, Curry?" These other celebrities, they get a pass on this stuff. That was pretty unbelievable. Okay.
That's just sleazy.
Yeah, and everyone's there. And everyone was, like some other celebrities were serving beer at a well-known bar, and the beer, the proceeds would go to the Gyro 555, and it's just everyone's in it for themselves, and no one would admit it, but they're all in it just for their own popularity. and look, I'm going to auction off the first pink ruby-studded jacket that I wore in my video clip in 1991. I mean, please. So insulting. It's like people care about the people in the Philippines. Not at all. I'm not buying it. But the Dutch, there you go, 18.5 million euros. So pretty much a euro.
Makes them feel better.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, there's that.
It goes right into the coffers of the Red Cross.
But, well, a lot of it does. But unfortunately, no one ever talks about the reality of what's really going on. First of all, this was not the worst storm ever, nor the most people killed during a typhoon in the Philippines, in this region. This is nothing new, but I guess because we have, I don't know, video of it. We barely even have video of the storm itself, in fact.
No, we don't have that much video of the storm. That's kind of interesting, but we do have a lot of overhead helicopter shots of the ravaged areas, and then we also have the same ones from the that crazy, weird storm that the tornadoes, which I don't want to sound like, because I'm not buying into a lot of the weather modification stuff, but I do have a clip which brings up a couple of interesting points about these tornadoes that ravaged Illinois last week.
All right, do you want to come back to the Philippines? Or you want to go?
No, why don't you finish the Philippines and then we'll go on with this, because I find it peculiar. Even though it hasn't been blamed. The weird thing about the latest thing, I haven't heard enough global warming.
Well, yeah, no, okay. We'll transition into that, because of course the Philippines is a part of the global warming meme. But you have to know. Now, remember, we have the $27 billion aircraft carrier, the George Washington, sitting there. We now have, and this is what I'm pretty much convinced it's all about, is just the strategic location of military assets. Japan is sending its...
Definitely going on. It's definitely going on.
Yeah. Japan is sending its self-defense forces, which is, I believe that's, I think it's 4,000 troops. Japan. It's like getting pretty transparent, guys. Australia has a ship they've sent over. Let's see. We have now the Chinese, of course. They're like, oh, hold on a second. So they're deploying their relief ship, because this is all happening in the Sea of China. And when you look at some of this relief, I mean, the whole thing is really quite despicable. Particularly when you note that a lot of the packages that have arrived have been unpacked and then repackaged by the local Filipino government officials, so that it says, what is the guy's name? One of the like the Minister of Internal Affairs, it's like repackaged with his name on it and his ministry on it. So it's taking a couple days extra so they can repackage the relief so that there's a political win for the internal government. So the whole thing is obviously, if it wasn't a scam to start off with whatever started it and whatever is motivating it, it certainly is being misused to a great degree. And again, and in the show notes, I have a couple links to many other storms going back to the 70s, and this is the interesting thing. I think it was let me see, I have it here. I believe it was 1970. There was a huge typhoon in the exact same region, and guess what it was blamed on?
Well, if it was in the 70s, they may blame it on global cooling.
That's exactly right. It's the exact same region, a huge typhoon blamed on global cooling in 1970. Oh, how quickly we forget. And of course, there's your media not reminding you, not helping you out at all. The only thing that
media stinks.
Yeah, the only thing that's obviously happening is being misused for global warming purposes. I'm seeing the political cartoons pop up everywhere. It's already being talked about at the COP19. And we can talk about that, or we can go into your Illinois clip now, which it does seem kind of coincidental. If you read State of Fear by Michael Crichton, you'll know that these kind of things. It's kind of fun when they coincidentally happen. When you have a big climate conference where a lot of people are saying they need a lot of money in compensation for all the horrible CO2 that's killing the people in the poor third world countries.
Yeah, anything they do to soak the American taxpayer.
Yeah.
And, of course, the Chinese and the Indians aren't playing ball, and so it's all in our court, which is kind of interesting. Yeah, these weird stories. Just play this and then tell me what you think, because I think, and I don't normally go in this direction, it's as if there was a cloud seeding experiment gone wrong or something, because there's a couple of factoids in here, which Glenn Eiffel is discussing this with a climatologist from the university, or from Oklahoma State, I think. And he's talking about these anomalies, and then she's obviously paying no attention, because at the end, and I cut it off, she asks the question that he answers right at the beginning.
Tornadoes throughout the entire Midwest. How unusual was it to see a wave of storms like this?
Well, it's very unusual to see a wave of storms like this time of year. This is something that we expect might happen in March or April, but it's extremely unusual to have such a widespread outbreak in the Midwest in November.
Well, let's walk through some of the unusual features here. When was the time of day when these tornadoes struck? We're kind of used to hearing about late afternoon warnings that come, touchdowns of tornadoes, but not an early morning one.
Yes, this was extremely unusual. I believe the storms began around 9 o'clock in the morning, and usually we need to get the sun's heating during the day to get the storms going. But in this case, a very, very powerful storm system came through that lifted the air very, very early, and we didn't need to get to be very warm for the storms to be triggered.
How about the time of year? We just heard the...
What a douche.
I know, she asked this question that he answered right off the bat. So I could have played that whole thing, but she obviously, he had to say it again. It was November instead of April.
Right.
But she's obviously not listening. So I just thought.
Well, this is the problem with most, certainly with most interviews, but I would say with most conversations in general. Even when people aren't broadcasting, they're not listening. All people wait for is for, when is it my time to talk? I want to talk. When is it my turn to talk? I want to go.
Where's the break?
Am I going yet? Is it me now? Is it me? Is it me? Yeah, that's very sad when people are paid lots of money to do that, as I'm sure she is. So what do you think?
Well, I was amused by it takes place in November, which is screwy, and then there was the morning. This never happens in the morning, and these were whoppers. There's no fives, he said, but there were a lot of fours, and they ripped up a bunch of places that are never normally hit. And I just thought the whole thing was slightly fishy, even though I'm not of that mindset.
Yeah.
But since you weren't in town to get this,
someone has to do it.
Oh, it's climate alterations or whatever.
HAARP. Weather modification.
HAARP.
Yeah. Well, but I'm glad I'm over here, because there are a lot of interesting things happening. And although it's not really hitting super mainstream, there was a report here in one of the main Dutch newspapers about a Dutch climatologist who just published a report in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. That's PNAS, P-N-A-S. He said PNAS.
Yeah.
PNAS.org.
I've lost you.
Do you hear me? Did you lose me?
I think I have a loose connection.
Hello. I'm broadcasting at you. 1 2 1 2. Can you hear me?
I'm good.
You good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
So you heard about the PNAS?
No, I don't know anything about the PNAS. Okay. I have nothing about the PNAS.
All right. So there was a Dutch climatologist who published a study in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences on their website, the PNAS.org, and there was a report about it in the Dutch press here. The report done by Sybren Drijfhout. I love those Dutch names. The last name, Drijfhout, means driftwood. And the title of it is Spontaneous Abrupt Climate Change Due to Atmospheric Blocking Sea Ice Ocean Feedback in an Unforced Climate Model Simulation. And that doesn't mean a lot until you get into it, and this is what luckily had been published here. And his models, so he's a part of the big overall IPCC, and this is all peer reviewed. The models that he is using, and we know that the big problem with the governmental reports has been their models have been off. His models are showing a quite severe and quite lengthy cooling, but like mini ice age.
Yeah. This was first developed. These were the theories developed in the 70s, and there's a number of people. There's been some reviews of this, and there's been a number of people that were involved in. There's a funny thing about the global cooling stuff from the 70s. The people switched over to warming, and the other about half of them stayed with cooling, and they have not changed their attitude that we're going to have a mini ice age, which is going to be a huge disaster under whatever circumstance. Mm-hmm. So I suppose this guy.
Well, except if you live in Austin, it's going to be quite nice. Actually, it's going to be fantastic.
It takes a while for these things to unfold. Mm-hmm. So what else did he say in the?
So I'm looking at.
I don't have my bell because I've said so many times.
That's all right. I got a bell for you. So essentially, he says, it looks like around 2030 is when the ice age will start, and it could last until well into 2070, and it could actually be quite cold. And let's see, he's saying that the last. I'm also translating some of this on the fly. The last little ice age we had was between 1300 and 1850. Which gave us really, really horrible winters, but nice and cool winters, summers. I mean, so as I said, Austin will be pretty nice when this does kick in, if it does. But it's just kind of interesting to see how these things are starting to show up in these journals. And by the way, what is peer reviewed? I mean, I understand what it says, but doesn't that mean that's like a big circle jerk? And I mean, should it be reviewed by non-peers or it's some other way? This whole thing that it's like whenever someone says...
No, it's not true. It essentially refers to having the paper out for review by other experts who can go through the data before it's published. Go through the data and find flaws and say, oh, this 2 plus 2 is not 5.1. Sort of thing, or say the spreadsheet formula was wrong because there's a bunch. This is kind of like peer review is what devolved into these Trekkies. The guys who say, "Oh, the badge on your costume is over an inch too far. The Federation would never put a badge there."
Wait a minute. You're not telling me that climatologist peer review system is a derivative of Star Trek conventions?
No, the Star Trek conventions devolved from peer review.
I get it.
That's my thesis. Okay. So now
I got it.
Fine-tooth comb. Okay. And say, I see the microphone in frame 56 of the shot number 10.
Right.
That kind of those guys.
Yeah. Well, okay, could be. I just get a little tired of hearing it. That's all.
What, peer review?
No, just like it's fact. It's peer reviewed. It's like you and I could peer review stuff together.
No, you're not a peer.
Okay.
You could become one if you went and went over these things, took one of these papers, and then you said, and then you found all these mistakes, and then you presented the mistakes to the group.
Yeah. And
everyone said, well, this guy's right. Yeah. I've never heard of him. Who is this Adam Curry fellow? I don't know.
Right.
Let's send him more stuff to do.
Right.
It ends up being a nightmare.
All right.
But, you have to be peer-reviewed.
So while all this is going down, we have these reports coming out. Of course, we have COP19 is in full swing. And lo and behold, it turns out that everybody's in it for the money. Who knew?
And wasn't there a walkout or something?
Yeah,
when I went to bed.
You had a clip. You have a clip. I'm trying to throw it right to you, my friend.
I don't know that I have a clip of the walkout.
I'm pretty sure I saw a walkout clip. Maybe I misread it. Maybe I was just wishful thinking.
I think it's wishful thinking because it was just as I was going to bed they were reporting the walkout.
Okay, I don't
remember having a clip of it. So.
All right, so I don't have a clip of it, but 133 countries. Was it countries or delegates? Hold on, let me double check this.
I know what you're looking at.
133 countries walk out of UN climate meeting over global warming compensation argument. The G77 plus China group of 133 countries walked out of the United Nations Climate Change Conference in Warsaw on the loss and damage mechanism after developed nations refused to agree to terms. And as you read through the reports, essentially what these countries wanted is an automatic compensation mechanism that if they have a storm or some horrible event, that they automatically that they get money sent to them. I mean, this is insane. What are we trying to do here?
This is hilarious.
And it's beyond insane and hilarious. It's disgusting. So it really turns out that this is just all about a bunch of poor countries. Let me just put it that way, who want to soak us.
Yeah.
And it's all...
No, it's total. I thought that from the first time I saw one of these conferences when Amy Goodman was there, and all she ended up talking to people from Micronesia or somebody from some island in the middle of nowhere. And they were all bitching and moaning about how we've screwed up the world and we owe them money.
Yeah, but for them to be so blatant about it, I was like, what? So here's the new term, climate finance. This is the word you've got to look out for. According to a report by the World Resource Institute, developed nations have spent $35 billion in international climate finance through the Fast Start finance period between 2010 and 2012, exceeding the initial target of $30 billion. Just listen to this. 5 countries, Germany, Japan, Norway, Britain, and the United States, gave a combined sum of $27 billion. Adaptation funding received $5 billion, while mitigating received $22.1 billion. And so these 133 countries, they went, well, that's not good enough. We don't care how you guys do it, but you just got to make sure that we get money for extreme weather. I'm like, wow, this is... and why is not everyone up in arms about this?
We are.
Well, yeah. We're pretty tiny in this regard.
We don't count.
Many people cares about what we think. So I'm reading from The Guardian now. U.S. fears climate talks will... so actually, here's a report from the 13th where it was kind of set up in The Guardian that U.S. climate officials were afraid that the talks would break down to this very point, that the focus would be on compensation for extreme weather. Boom! Then we get the Philippines, the whole thing happening, the typhoon, and all of this money. I guess the president said that we've sent 32. It wasn't 33. I would remember, but it was in the $30 million range, which of course is bogative because every day that the USS George Washington is sitting there with 5,000 men and a $27 billion write-off, that's got to be $1 million a day at least, if not more. So it's everyone's misusing this thing for a whole bunch of reasons, but this climate change thing is just nuts.
Yeah, it's true.
Meanwhile, the reports here in the lowlands, it's kind of good to be here to get the vibe about stuff. And of course, me being here, I'm getting, for some reason, Dutch people send me more email than usual, I guess. And they're sending me all kinds of...
He's nearby.
Yeah, he's close.
It'll get you faster.
He's close. They send me all these things about Fukushima. And here's a report I got. And this is a report. I think this might even have been in Forbes. Let me see. This is The Ecologist. TheEcologist.org. Is that a real publication? The Ecologist?
Well, they must have gotten that. That's a great URL, so they must have gotten it early.
Sounds pretty legit. We should look into it. Here it is. Fukushima fallout damaged thyroid glands of California babies.
Oh, bullcrap. The Ecologist is a fraud.
Well, you'll love the wording. A new study finds that radioactive iodine from Fukushima has caused a significant increase in hypothyroidism amongst babies in California, 5,000 miles across the Pacific Ocean. And the article will be published next week, so I couldn't review it for you, but it is in the peer-reviewed journal, the Open Journal of Pediatrics. Congenital hypothyroidism is a rare but serious condition normally affecting about one child in 2,000 and one that demands clinical intervention. So if you read through this article, they say that they studied the whole bunch of babies born before, during, and after the Fukushima malfunction of the reactor, and that they can show there was a 21% increase in babies that were that have hyperthyroidism, and they're claiming this is because of the Fukushima radiation cloud. And I can't wait to see the report, and I'm not quite sure exactly what the Journal of. These are all good names, by the way. The Open Journal of Pediatrics.
Yeah,
I mean, that could be like.
Take a look at what a subscription to these things costs.
Let's take a look. Well, the Open Journal of Pediatrics could be like the like the Palm OS of pediatrics. I don't know what it is. Let's see.
We must have a pediatrician on as a list.
Oh, yeah.
Who can tell us.
Sure we do.
But you'll find the subscriptions like thousands of dollars an issue. These things are somewhat built for papers, for publishing papers. It's
yes.
like, you publish. It's almost like, the Who's Who books. Would you like to be in the Who's Who of the West? I was invited to Who's Who of the West, Who's Who in Business, also the marquee Who's Who, the big one, and it's always the same. You can get your name in there with a Who's Who listing, and then but part of the deal is you buy a book.
Oh yeah, no, of course. So you have to buy the book. Well, I'm looking here, Open Journal of Pediatrics, and it doesn't really look like they have a website. It looks like it is actually a journal.
Yeah. Yeah, they can't put this stuff on the web. They're going to make no money.
People might read it. Well, it seems like you can download it. Let me see. Publish special issues. Sponsors, associates, and links. That's always my favorite. Well, when it comes out, I'll take a look at it, and I'll go through it. But we don't even have these kinds of numbers for Chernobyl. There's nothing like that.
Yeah, 5,000 miles away. It's pretty unlikely.
So they got a lot of numbers, a lot of stuff, a lot of facts. And of course, this is published by the European Committee on Radiation Risk. My God, there's so many NGOs. Euradecom.org.
We have to do an NGO because this is the only way to go.
And I don't want to mention the name because. Okay, so there's a guy I know from television from a long time ago, and I hook up again with him in Austin, and he's actually kind of well known as a writer, producer. I work with him. He was a writer on a TV show I was on, and he's also been in some pretty big serial stuff recently as an actor. But not like he's not swimming in dough. Let's put it that way. He's an actor. He does bit parts, and that's about it.
He's getting by.
Yeah, he's getting by, exactly. He's living in Austin. Enough said. And but I meet him through some of our other friends, and actually some of the wealthier Obots. And they'd been talking about him and this project that he was doing, which involves kids in Kenya. I can't even say specifically what. And we've bought a table for the big dinner, and you guys have to come. So, and I go looking at me. It's like, okay,
it's one of those dinners where you buy tables for your friends.
Yeah, for $10,000 or whatever.
$10,000, you get a table. You can seat 6.
9.
9. Oh,
there's always one odd person out. Me. It's like I'm going to go look at the Form 990 and see what this is about. And it's like, they got revenue. So they raised $350,000. His wife runs it. She gets paid a salary of $71,000. He's a paid advisor to make the videos that are made for the site, and he gets $50,000. Then there's $30,000 in rent, which, although I don't know, probably is a portion going to their home wherever they're running it.
About home business.
Yeah, so there's there's half of the money is to keep these people running, and I'm like, that's messed up. I don't like that. It's just like it's a scam to me. I mean, I'm sure it's well meant and everything, and I know that they're really doing the work, but I mean, really, kids in Kenya. Have you seen the money that's being poured into Kenya by the United States State Department, by the Chinese? I mean, it's not like Kenya's, it's not all just, kids with flies and pot bellies hanging around. There's some money flowing in there. And so whatever's left of the 350 grand, it's like,
what about the kids in Austin? How about the
thank you,
in Austin?
Thank you, or anywhere in the United States. That's what I was thinking. It's like I like to help a little more locally, and and Mason, well, I know people go, "Oh, you're a dickhead. How can you want to help people?" Well, yeah, I want to help people that I can actually. It's that guy again. It's the same guy who comes out whenever someone hates me.
Did I ever? I must have told it. I think I told the story like 3 or 4 years ago. I'll tell it again. I'm in London, and there was some beggar on the street, and I gave him a £1 note, I believe. And some guy in a lorry, which is London for a huge truck, stops the truck in the middle of the street and starts screaming at me for giving this guy a pound. Because he says, people are full of shit. You shouldn't be giving them money. He says, it's ruining the country for guys like you. And he's just yelling at me. And I'm thinking, Jesus, this is terrible. What is the problem there? I don't know. I just found it befuddling.
Well, no, I think to a certain degree, the guy might have been right, depending on... It's kind of like the squeegee guys that we used to have when you drove out of the Lincoln Tunnel.
You didn't want them to touch your windshield because they mucked it up.
Yeah,
it was extortion.
Yes, of course it was. It's all extortion.
Yeah, it was extortion, but it's my business, not the truck drivers.
Right, but you're just some tourist and you're coming over here and ruining everything. We can't have that. It's like
apparently that's what does go on in India. I haven't been to India. This is one of the places I've never been. I always wanted to go, but I'm less and less likely to go, and less and less wanting to go over time.
Mickey's gone. She says she'll never go back again.
I've heard that from a number of people.
Yeah. She said
apparently in some of the towns, you walk out of your taxi or you walk off the train or whatever it is, and 1 million beggars.
Yeah.
People with one leg and one eye, and they're all miserable looking, and they're all in rags, and they're all in, just kind of things wrapped around them and nuts hanging out, and they all hold like beat up old cups, or you've seen these pictures.
Yes, of course. That's one of the reasons I'll never go.
And they all come up to you.
I have pre-guilt
because you're obviously rich.
Yeah, of course.
This is not right.
No, I have pre-guilt of going there. I could never go. It's horrible. By the way, the spreadsheet came in.
Oh.
Yeah. Good old Eric. Alrighty. Nice. Well, although I don't know would be that happy. A quick glance at the spreadsheet.
What happens when we travel? We never do well.
No. Yeah, you're right. Oh well. Anyway, Mickey was telling me that they would have, they have like 1 million kids, and they take one kid, and the kid's like open sores and stuff, and they just throw them on the side of the road with a bucket and a sign, and they just wait, and it's horrible. It's horrible. It's not exactly the same thing as what we're talking about here, but anyway, just the NGO thing, and in America, in recent time, because they also get, I saw that they get money from 3 or 4 different NGOs, and those NGOs, at the end of the day, all the NGO money comes from the taxpayer. It's going to the really big NGOs, like, the Robin Hood Foundation. Remember, they did the Superstorm Sandy benefit show. And, right. and we looked at it. They distribute everything to all these little tiny NGOs all around the country. They also put a whole bunch of, because it's run by bankers, they put a whole bunch of derivatives and other stuff, and I'm sure they make money on it, because that's what those guys do anyway. They're just putting in the vehicles they know will make money. And the whole thing is just, that trickles down, and it's keeping all these people kind of working. And is it important? Do we have a culture of philanthropy? Yeah, we do have a culture of philanthropy in America, but I think it's gone too far. And I just see too many people with their little nonprofits, and like Dell has this too. I see it in Austin. People say, "Oh, can you come and do this thing?" And it's for the Dell Foundation. And what's your involvement? Well, I have an NGO, nonprofit, and we do the organization of the artists. So basically, you're a booker, but you're not paying taxes. It's like, it makes me angry.
A booker.
That's what they are. They're a booker, but they just
and their specialty is getting people to work for free.
Yes.
So Dell can get a bigger tax write-off, and that organization can get a big tax write-off on your dime.
Exactly. So and by the way,
I know, but the problem is you can't. It's hard to instead of like being upfront and honest about
it's gotten easy for me. I just say, no, I don't believe in what you're doing. I like you as a guy, but no. I'm just saying it. I don't care. I can't fake it anymore. And by the way, this is I got this virus.
What you're doing?
I got this virus from you.
What?
I got this virus from you.
What virus?
This just being straightforward and honesty thing.
Oh, I didn't know it was a disease.
Yes, it's very contagious.
Well, you say but I like the wording. I don't believe in what you're doing. I haven't used that.
You should try it.
Actually, quite. Because your other one was no. What was the other one?
No.
Somebody says
no. It depends. It's like, do you want to? What is it? Do you want to?
No, I hate children.
Do you want to help children? No, I hate children. Just whatever it is. Just I hate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't believe in what you're doing is much softer. I could use that myself.
Well, you should give it a wing.
Although I don't. I tend to. I'm trying to think when I tend to be one of those chicken shit types.
You're just an avoider, aren't you?
Yeah. It's like I go around the block. I need my exercise. So I'll take a block route around some guy. So I'll go by him. I'll go by the guy. Hey, I need some money. Oh, I'm going to go get a pizza. And
I'll be right back.
But I'll be right back I'll have some change.
No.
I've got no change.
No.
That's one.
Really?
Which is chicken shit. I mean, I admit it. I mean, I need to be more like, even though you say you got it from me, I need to do more of the ways you handle it.
But
if you actually.
Aren't you proud of me?
Yeah, well, especially with that last one. I really like that. I don't believe in what you're doing. It's hard to say that to just a bum, but I don't believe in what you're doing. So I'll do that. The other one is, but of course, it bothers me when somebody comes up to me at a gas station, which is not unusual.
Oh, yeah, that happens in
I'm playing with a credit card. I got broke. Oh,
Right.
okay.
Right.
But yeah, I don't believe in what you're doing. No, these guys are all over the place, and they're just, I don't know. I think it's the dishonesty of it. If they were up front and said, "Here's what we're doing. We're trying to do some good here, and we need to make a living doing it." It's kind of like our show.
Yeah.
We need to make a living doing this, and so we're asking for help from anywhere we can, so we can afford to continue this work. I'd be a little more amenable to that than this kind of a scamish.
Exactly.
Oh, I don't even know how they do it, but I think an NGO is probably a real moneymaker.
Oh well, it's a lifestyle, John. It's not just a moneymaker. Look at who's the pink ladies. What are they called? The one, Mina is her name. The crazy lady who's always standing up.
The pink slip people.
Not the pink slip.
Gold pink.
The pink ladies. That was Greece, actually. I'm sorry. I'm a little confused. Yeah, Code Pink.
The reason that I said pink slip because that's how it began. Code Pink was originally to give George Bush a
the pink slip. You're right. So the kind of crazy who, by the way, to me, in a very perverted way, I think she's kind of hot. I'm not quite sure why.
That old woman?
She's not old. She's not old. What's old? You're old. She's not old.
She's older than me.
No, she is not older than you. She's like mid-50s, maybe. Now let's take a look. Code Pink. What's her name? Mina. Isn't her name Mina? Something or other? She had
a big Code Pink operation.
She changed her name. I know that. For some reason. Mina Benjamin. There you go.
Mina?
I think it's Mina. Let's see. Medea. Mina Medea. She is age 61, so she's a little bit younger than you. Well, I'm looking at her again. She's not hot.
Yeah, I don't know what you're thinking.
Well, I don't know. Sometimes I don't know. Sometimes
before we go to the spreadsheet, I should mention something. I think somebody at Russia. I found at this hotel for some reason they have the Russia Today network rather than just a couple of shows. They have the whole network.
Yeah.
And they've got this new woman who does this show called Boom or Bust. And she's just got a weird background, but she is she's pretty close to what we as the consulting group, the Curry Dvorak consulting group would have picked. This woman's name is Erin Ade, which is a bad last name. Is Ade.
Oh, and okay. I see what you mean.
She's a here I'll give you the rundown. We're going to do just for a moment. We're going to do our little TV producer douchebag discussion.
Yes, it's a big hit with the ladies, by the way, this segment on the show. It works really well. Okay, what's her name again? Her name is Erin.
Erinade. So she comes on, and here's the way I see it. For one thing, she has got world-class legs.
Yes, she does. And she shows them.
And she shows them off. Mm-hmm. She gets in a stool, sits awkwardly, so her entire legs are... One of them's crossed over, and the other one's down on the floor, and she's got high heels. And
you know what I like about her is she has too many teeth for the size of her mouth.
She has a huge. If she puts on their number one smile maxed out,
yeah,
every tooth in her mouth.
But that as long as we keep her smiling, we need how with horses they put ginger in their butt to make the tail stay up in a horse show. So we need to find You don't know about that?
No.
Oh yeah, in a horse show, when the horses are on parade, they put a little bit of ginger in their butt, so their tail will always stay. They'll have the tail up. So we need the equivalent of that for her mouth. So it's just because I'm looking at her picture here on the Google Images where she's not smiling and it looks really goofy.
Yeah, no, she's not as good looking, but with the big monster smile, it's almost freakishly big.
Yeah. There's some good shots. Yeah.
Curiously attractive in some funny way.
She needs big hair though. If the hair's flat, it doesn't work. She needs big hair.
Well, she's got different hairdo. I've seen 2 or 3 hairdos for her because they have some promos of her, and I think they're working with her. Now, here's the problem I have. I think they got the right idea, but I watch her do her show. Mm-hmm. Now I realize that Abby Martin and this woman both, there's the same coach involved.
Oh, she can't read.
Well, besides the reading, her reading is not good, but it's acceptable because she's kind of attractive. But I'm talking about the coaching. If you watch Abby Martin, her head's bobbing all over the place, her arms are waving around, and she's trying to walk on these crazy steps, and she can barely handle high heels, and staggering around the set with her head bobbing and her arms waving. And this girl does. When I first saw her, I said, "This is a clone of Abby Martin." Same thing, waving her arms and staggering around on the set like she's about to fall over. You're worried sick that she's going to land on her ass. The whole thing, and I'm thinking this has got to be a common coach. There's somebody at that network that is teaching these girls how to handle themselves, and they're teaching them wrong.
And that person needs to be fired.
Person needs to be fired.
I just found on YouTube a video she uploaded, which looks like her reel. It has her contact info here and her mobile number. And I guess she was an ESPN Star Sports reporter based in Singapore. It even has her apartment number in Singapore. Let's see if there's some video on this thing. That's that.
Can you tell me a little bit about this engine? You're going to have to keep watching to find out.
Oh, she did racing segments. Oh, man.
Motorcycle riding.
Oh, cool. Oh, she's like extreme sports stuff, John.
Yeah, well, if you look at her wiki page, she worked for some crappy local network that's some Turkish station in Schenectady or something like that. And I think somebody grabbed her and said, "Hey, wait a minute, we could."
And this, by the way, is what we are excellent at: is finding these women on little rinky-dink stations and turning them into superstars. Actually,
I'll tell you that we could do a better job with both these women than the coach that's got these women staggering around the stage.
All right, let's move on. Come on.
Yeah, okay.
Because we could talk about that for the whole show, which is the sad part of it.
Unfortunately. Yeah. but anyway, so you have to keep an eye out for her. She's gonna go places.
Well, as we do this bi-continental show, and we're both on remote, and I'm here in the Airbnb in Amsterdam, and you're in the hotel in Florida. I think it is time to say, in the morning to you, John C. Dvorak.
And in the morning to you, Adam Curry. In the morning, all ships at sea, boots on the ground, feet in the air, subs in the water, and all the dames and nights out there.
Yes, and in the morning to our human resources in the chat room, who at this point also are able to listen to the stream. So thanks to our team for getting that up and running, as we are a couple hours earlier than typical for a show time. And, of course, thank all of you for your courage. And thank you to our artists who are always working hard, bringing us the artwork at No Agenda, artgenerator.com. Martin JJ, gave us the art on the previous episode, 566. And today is, of course, we forgot to mention it, 567, which would have been an excellent donating opportunity. And we, as typical, we forgot to mention it.
We never thought of it. It's not we forgot anything.
We didn't. Yeah, that's right.
We didn't
think of it. Exactly.
567 is a great number for the numerologists out there who like to donate certain kinds of crazy numbers. 568, 569, 570. There's nothing again for, I don't know, forever. But we do have a few people to thank, including Sir Anthony Montgomery, if that is indeed his last name, as I have to stretch. I'm on a little laptop, so I can't. So you have to correct my mistakes.
Well, I'm also on. I'm on two laptops, and one is running the show, and the other is smaller, and it's running the spreadsheet. So yeah, Sir Anthony Montgomery,
right in Westfield, Indiana, 5. And he did come up. He came up with the idea on his own.
Yeah,
567.
He's been waiting for it. He's like, yes. And there you go. Typical that people are smarter than we are.
Yeah, well, it seems to be the case, generally speaking. There's a little note here. I was knighted last Thanksgiving and have not donated since, so this is a catch me up, so to speak. I'm also answering the call for support and the call for kale recipes. I strongly dislike kale, but I do occasionally eat it because my lovely wife makes it truly delicious.
Oh, okay.
So he has a recipe for the Tuscan potato soup. Being an engineer, I was interested in the chemistry required to make kale taste so good. The short answer is that kale contains many healthy but foul-tasting compounds, mostly sulfurous. Some of these are water-soluble and some are fat-soluble. Her recipe for Tuscan potato soup includes cream, spinach, spicy Italian sausage, and, of course, potatoes and kale. The combination of fats and starches causes the kale to absorb the fats from the cream and sausage, also to give up its fouler flavors. It sounds like a nightmare.
Sounds exactly like what it is. It's foul.
Yeah, everything blends together in a wonderful way, he says. There is no room to share the full recipe. You can send it to me.
Send it, please. Yeah.
John@thebark.org. But there are many variations of Tuscan potato soup. By the way, the Tuscan kale, which is also called dinosaur kale or black kale, is not as bad as the other kales.
And that's where we're headed, right? We're headed towards the Tuscan black stuff. Isn't that what?
Yeah, that seems to be the goal here by the kale producers.
Right.
Anyway, this is funny. He says some versions claim that it's optimal, but trust me, it isn't. Some recipes even encourage you to discard the kale after it's been absorbed fat.
I think you're supposed to give it to the cows.
Fat.
You're supposed to give it to the cows.
This is heresy. It's the best part. I believe this is the only way to make kale taste good, and it's worth it. Thank you for the best podcast in the universe, and blessings to you all.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much, Sir Anthony, for not just for supporting the show, but doing it with well, of course, you'll not only be executive producer, but also the sole member of the 567 Club. And it's highly appreciated. On the kale tip for a minute, John, you know what's big here? Quinoa.
Yeah, there was a good thing on PBS the other day about quinoa. Apparently, quinoa is, you know what it is. I think most people do. Quinoa is a kind of a grain that is from South America, I believe. Peru, maybe, or Colombia, or someplace. Ecuador. And quinoa has become like some sort of superfood. It's like a
superfood. It is. There it is.
Squirrel! So, quinoa, here's what the problem is. Apparently, it's a sustenance product for the indigenous people.
Yes.
And we're stealing it all.
I saw the exact same report. They had the same report here in the Netherlands. So it's a setup. It's a plan.
By the wheat people or the corn people to stop us from using quinoa.
No, actually, the report here, because they went down to South America and they showed, we're starving because all the rich white people are eating our quinoa, and we have to plant more, so we're going to have to
money.
We're going to have to raise the price. It was all about gouging the customer.
Oh, gouge. Okay, well, that makes more sense.
That was a gouge. Yeah, easy one.
There was a funny story that Buzzkill Jr. told me. Apparently, quinoa, they've been trying to popularize it. And one of the problems with it is it's a little ball-shaped product with a hard shell on the outside.
Yeah.
And the hard
if you
shell
don't
is a pain in the ass.
Yeah, if you don't do it just right, then the hard shell stays on, and it hurts, and it's no
That's
good.
the problem.
Yeah.
So the geneticists decided to breed a batch of quinoa without the hard shell. For the
GM?
American. Yeah, they're going to do a GM version with it, or even there was the fastest way to do it. So they had they had this huge test field supposedly of the shellless quinoa, and as soon as the stuff got to the point where it was ripe and could be picked, millions of birds descended on the field and wiped it out. There wasn't one grain left.
Excellent.
Apparently, the hard shell is to keep birds from just devouring this stuff.
Oh.
So another misplay by the.
And is it pronounced quinoa or is it quinoa or is it? How do you pronounce?
I pronounce it quinoa, but it may be quinoa. But that sounds kind of weird.
Yeah.
Did you get a note from Sir Lauri Jutila in Helsinki, Finland?
Well, I have
33333.
I have a note on the spreadsheet.
Oh,
There's
well,
a thing. Adam and John, greetings from Finland, the Nordic country east of the Scandinavian peninsula.
This is weird. I don't have anything here. It's just a big blank. Let's see if I can click on something.
Yeah,
and get
maybe
it.
the way the spreadsheet's operating.
There it is.
You go.
Okay.
This donation is a birthday gift to myself. And now Sir Loria is he's friends with Sir Luke Wonderhelm. So these are like the only two people in Finland. They do meetups, which I think basically
they do meetups.
honey, I'm
go out and have a beer.
exactly, honey, I got a No Agenda meetup. I got to go, and then they're out there just drinking beer. The two of them. So birthday gift to myself for tomorrow, November 22nd, turning 33. Turning 33 on 11/22. There must be something special about it. Therefore, I'm celebrating it with a donation to the best podcast in the universe. This 33333 donation is also a triple Making It Rain donation. I'd like John to call onto the stage. Write these down, John.
Hold on a second. I got the sheet here.
We have to have a separate admin for the club. For the Make It Rain Club. We should just call the club Rain.
Who does he want?
Sophie? Pearl.
Sophie. Okay, I'll put her on stage one.
Yes, sir. Pearl. I think
Yeah.
Pearl to the champagne room.
I've got the thing written.
Oh, okay. All right.
In.
And-
I'll do that.
And here's a name we haven't had in the club for a while because she's smoking hot. Her name is Matilda.
Matilda.
As Thanksgiving approaches, I'm thankful for the podcast you do. You cover news and events that others ignore or don't dare to touch. Yes, like calling out nonprofits and NGOs. And do it with great analysis and humor. We do try. Please give a round of karma to everybody, especially fellow knights and dames. Take care. Sir Laurie Black Knight, a.k.a. the greatest guy ever, as proclaimed by the greatest shill ever on No Agenda 464. So, of course, we are more than happy to hit you with some karma there.
You've got karma.
Good, sir. And thank you for your courage.
Okay, now I'm trying to get this thing to read out right.
So those are our
Hold
two
on.
executive producers, and then we have some 3 associate executive producers for the show.
Yeah, including this thing I'm
Bernard.
using. It's funny because this is, of course, besides this laptop being too small to deal with this wide column, and it's not word wrapping. I'm using LibreOffice, which is actually what Eric ships it in.
Now I'm using
But
OpenOffice. It works okay.
Here we go. John and hold on. Bernard Glynn, $281 from Blairmont, New South Wales, Australia. John and Adam, I'm a new pre-night and a short-term noob who was put onto your show by my skeptical older brother Tony, who, to my knowledge, has not yet contributed. Douchebag. I'm now hooked on No Agenda. He didn't call out for a douchebag.
No,
We
I
gave him one
just
anyway.
slipped. It slipped.
I'm now hooked on No Agenda, and after having finally caught up with some back issues, now feel there's nothing to do but to join the associate executive producers of the best podcast in the universe. Freddie the Firewall would be so kind as to open up Port 81, which according to the Book of Knowledge is Tor Park onion routing port. I'd be much obliged, as I want to see how I get. How do I route an onion into a computer? Yeah, I guess you wouldn't be able to. The $200 is for your great work, and $81 is for Freddie. OMG. I hope my wife does not question this donation, but in case she does, can I get an initial de-douching for me and my brother Tony, and a MILF shout-out to assuage her anger?
Absolutely.
You've been de-douched.
That's one mother I like.
Hey, kids! It's Freddy the Firewall! Let's open up port 81!
Michael, first name only, in Sherwood, Arkansas, $222.22. Let's see what he's got to say. Use my first name only, Michael A. Double making it rain. Oh, 2 making it rains.
Who's he calling onto the stage?
But I want to hear the stock market sound bites that Adam mixed. Also, credit 111 of this to my boy David, who needs to be de-douched, as well as a.k.a. John Conrad.
Let me do the de-douching first when we figure the next part out.
You've been de-douched.
What is these stock sound bites? What is he talking about? Stock sound bites?
Stock sound bites. Cattle? Stock market?
That's what I'm thinking. Stock market?
I don't know. He's going to have to be more specific. We'll have to do it next time.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Let me slide the spreadsheet back over to Anonymous in Lost Wages, Nevada. And what do we got here? Jeez, this is a nightmare. These laptops are... I can't imagine how people do this on
Do people actually use those to work?
No, that people actually do just say, screw a laptop, let's get a pad. It's got to be worse. I can't get spread this, so you have to read this one.
Okay. I'll spread it for you, Johnny boy, no worries. Anonymous, use my flu shot coercion in the Las Vegas hospitals. The healthcare workers are being forced to get a flu shot. But what happens if you choose not to get a flu shot? Well, you have to wear a surgical mask at work until March. You look like an idiot and are uncomfortable as hell for your entire shift. Who paid off the hospital administrators to implement this? Please douchebag the flu shot Nazis. Douchebag. I get a lot of email about this, and I think it stemmed from the medical sales guys and gals. And there's something about...
come on, of course.
No, but I mean, they were forced to do it first because they were going from hospital to hospital. And they were like carrying germs, and there was something to it. I can't quite exactly remember what it was, but that does give me an opportunity to play this little ad, which I picked up from the new campaign, which is now being rolled out nationwide, brought to you by the people who make the vaccines. You don't want to be a flugitive, John, because if you're a flugitive...
Do you call your biceps thunder and lightning? Are you under the impression that someone as physically bodacious as yourself is impervious to getting sick? Have you ever done parkour? Then you just might be flugitive number 4, the fitness fanatic. This gym rat thinks he's invincible. But today, he's about to have his preconceived ideas challenged thanks to Fluzone Intradermal Vaccine and its next-generation device that quickly helps deliver protection against the flu just under the skin surface.
And by the way, this is not a goof. This is real. And they have 10 of them. They have all these different characters. So this is the guy who thinks he's so buff in the gym that he doesn't need a flu shot. So he's flugitive number 4.
Flugitive?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a whole big campaign. Yeah,
talking about crazy words, so I'm at this event, which is for enterprise guys, and I'm always looking. It's all buzzwords: EIM, CRM, BRG, BPS. What's a
BRG?
A big red gun.
Okay.
So somebody actually they put a slide up, and they actually used this new invented word, which because this is kind of like one of your Ron Bloom ones.
Yeah,
it's not an architecture; it's a market-tecture.
Wow, marketecture. Wow,
marketecture.
What was he selling? That's a good one.
Selling content management stuff.
Marketecture. And by the way, isn't the big Salesforce thing going on in San Francisco? Or was that last week? Maybe it was last week.
No, I think it was. I think it just ended. But yeah, there was a big Salesforce thing going on.
Those words, it's so beautiful. The words they use.
And apparently, what's his name? The guy who runs that company, whose name I just
Benioff.
He doesn't even go to work anymore. And somebody told me he's most of his time is now spent in his new residence. Of course, he wants to get out of California, I'm sure, with all his money. Maui. So he commutes from Maui.
Right. Oh, yeah. I commute from
Maui. Little known
fact. With the jet. Me and Pierre Omidar, we commute from Maui to go pick up Glenn Greenwald with a jet.
Anonymous, $200 from Amsterdam.
Hey,
thanks for the hard work. Love the show. Give me a MILF and some karma.
Hey, you got it, man. I hope you mean the jingle, because I don't have a MILF handy.
MILF,
I got that.
That's one mother I'd like to.
There you go. With some karma.
You've got karma.
Alrighty. And
finally, Teresa Huxley in Far Hills, New Jersey, who says, God bless No Agenda Podcasts.
Woo-hoo!
This is my birthday month, and it's my birthday week. My loving husband and I took my 85-pound German short-haired pointer with 85 pounds of propulsion for a walk this weekend. So that's a big dog.
Yeah.
So my hubby kindly took the leash so I could keep my arm intact. As we walked back to the Jeep, my husband asked if I had car keys, which I never did. So at 3:30, I decided that maybe I should walk back to the house and could look for the keys at the park. Look for the key at the park. Okay. I listened to your podcast in its entirety. Fabulous as usual. The only thing that made me additionally 1 hour and a half walk in the country roads fun was your podcast. Thus, your podcast saved me from being hit by all the cars. I'm donating my birthday money to you. Also, wish my brother Jeff happy birthday in the spirit of Thanksgiving. Thanks for all the great work you guys do.
Oh, that's very nice. Well, and yes, it's okay if you want to put it that way, but we know that you had the keys and you just made it up, didn't you?
You just wanted to walk and listen to the show.
Yeah, you just want to listen to the show. Like, oh, gee, do you have the keys, honey? I'm
behind on my listening.
Yeah.
That concludes our executive producers for show 567. Want to thank them and everybody else who donated to this show, as we'll get to in the second half. And remind you to go to Dvorak.org/NA, channeldvorak.com/NA, noagendashow.com, find the donate button, noagendanation.com, find the button, and noagendashow.com. There's a button there too.
Dvorak.org/NA.
And of course, we always appreciate you propagating the formula, and this is how it's done.
Our formula is this: we go out, we hit people in the mouth. Order. Shut up, slave.
Shut up, slave.
Oops, she came a little late. Yeah, so let's see. There's a number of things going on that we can certainly discuss today during our little broadcast here. I'm trying to keep some local stuff since that's always fun when we're over here. Let me see. Oh, I will say that I've been talking to a lot of people, and it's kind of interesting. Just I'm always interested in how media influences people's thinking, certainly about the United States. And I would say it's pretty much they think that the United States Congress is filled with a bunch of nut jobs, and that they're purposely taking down the whole country and the government just to kill off Obamacare.
Yeah.
So that meme is propagated very, very well. The Greenpeace 30 are out on bail. That was big news here. Of course, it contains a number of Dutch elements. These are the Greenpeace so-called protesters who climbed up on the Russian oil drilling rig. Of course, they're not really protesting oil drilling in general. They're just protesting the Russian oil drilling. So that was kind of big news. And otherwise, people are pretty depressed. Nothing else, really. You know.
You said that last time.
It's true, but it's so true. They just sit. It's been. Look, we have not seen sun for a single day. It's gray. It's it's either gray or it's gray and it's raining. And now it's gray and it's cold. Really, really cold.
Well, you're getting depressed yourself? Is that the deal?
Well, we're leaving tomorrow, so I'm going to be okay. And the royal family, which is really our queen here. Gosh, everyone loves the queen. You know, the new No, I love her. The Argentinian one, the new one, Maxima.
Oh, the hot one.
Oh, are you kidding me? No, I love her. So the royal, the king and the queen, they went to the islands. They went to Curacao, Aruba, Bonaire, and Saba, which of course are the Dutch. The Dutch, they're all the Netherlands. You know, so this is the kind of their high royal visit to say hi to the other subjects, and they're doing a nice job of it. You know, they're talking, and then they allow microphones, which is kind of new. The old queen wouldn't allow that.
What do you mean?
Well, so that so when they're talking to people, when they're hanging out, when they're talking to the crowds, then they allow that.
You can
to be
stick a
mic'd.
mic in their mouth. Hey, look, you're talking
over,
to this.
over their head, yeah. So you can hear what they're saying.
Oh,
it was actually for it's good.
Modern,
very modern, and gosh, she's so beautiful, and he's so ugly. That's what. It's kind of like Billy Joel and Christy Brinkley. You go like, my God, if it wasn't Billy Joel, you know, she wouldn't pee against this guy. And of course, you're like, if this guy wasn't the king, you know, she wouldn't be with him. But it's perfect, and it works so well, and she's so royal. I gotta say, as much as I think it's a farce and stupid, or really it's not a farce, they probably have a lot of power with, people just don't want to believe it. And at one point, something funny happened. So they're walking together, and a journalist, I think it was a German journalist, kind of pops out of the line, and he wants to stick a mic into the queen's face and ask her a question. And the king, he just, he's walking, he shoves the guy with one hand and just keeps smiling, keeps walking. He just shoves him right back, and he's just walking straight along. Oh, like as if nothing happened. It was a cool move, very slick. Yeah. So that's pretty much it. Nothing else.
Well, I got to meet some royalty.
Oh,
yeah, Shatner.
Oh, that is a true American royalty. He was there.
Yeah,
he's at this
and
thing?
I got him to autograph my Avengers.
Oh, man.
Book that he wrote.
Wow. Did you know he was going to be there? You must have.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, how cool.
And I had to, but it was one of these things they're going to do a big photo shoot with a bunch of the people that were invited to be in the photo, which I was one. And I was overhearing the PR women chattering amongst themselves. Oh, Mr. Shatner, they don't want him talking to anybody. They want to get him in and out. And so I said, I have to figure this one out because I wanted to get this. I'm not an autograph seeker normally, but I figured I might as well get this one.
He's going to die one of these days, so it's good to get him now.
He looks good.
Oh, really? Okay. Sometimes I wonder. I'm like, I didn't look so good.
He's not, he's one of these guys. I'm reminded of, I met Arnold Toynbee when he was still alive. Arnold Toynbee's a famous historian who wrote the study of history, very famous. So Toynbee was alive, and I wanted him to autograph a book, and I got him to autograph a book. I made a mistake because when I just had him autograph a book, some other idiot said, I want you to write this in my book, and gave Toynbee this huge list of things to say. Oh, you're the greatest guy ever. And he wrote it out. It was just astonishing. But Toynbee was like in his late 80s, and he was like, this guy was like, what? It was just really slow. Right. And it was like, this guy's, and he's going to give us a speech. So he's going to do a speech at the University of California. So he gets up there, and he turns from this old man to this dynamic speaker.
Oh, it was just like a boing?
The show business thing.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
And Shatner is in that mode. You could just tell. It's like, he just kind of doesn't give a shit about stuff. He's a really nice guy. He's not like one of those a-hole celebrities.
They must have blown the budget on him. What do you think he charges for that? $100,000?
I think he works cheaper than that. I don't think Shatner's a high overpaid guy. Really? I think he probably did it for $25 to $50.
Really?
Just to get out of the house, yeah.
Okay. I'm a little disappointed because all we really needed was, yes, this is the best podcast in the universe.
his handler was not happy with me.
Oh, okay. All right.
I mean, she was giving me the
but
eye.
had you even considered
She was
it?
giving me the stink eye while I was just trying to get him to autograph this thing. Because nobody else approached him. I was the only one. I think it got some feedback. You had somebody come and talk to him. These people are horrible.
I know how they are. Yeah, I know how they are. No, they are horrible.
But anyway, so I got the autograph, and I chatted with him a little bit, and he was just, just kind of amenable. But I get the sense that he's like the Toynbee guy, because he's old. He's like in his 80s, I believe. Mm-hmm. And he looks good. He doesn't look bad. Mm-hmm. But I'm of the impression that when the camera light comes on, the guy's a different person, which I think is pretty common with a lot of these guys.
Sure.
So anyway, that was my celebrity.
Yeah, that's when the meter's running. That's when it's important. It's important. Well, back in Washington, we had the interesting event, the United States Medal of Honor, Medals of Honor, I should say, were, and it's always the highest award ever. Whatever award is being...
Freedom, is this Medal of Honor or is this the Freedom Award or whatever it is?
This is the... No, now you've confused me. I think
presidential...
I think it's the Freedom Award. Is that it?
Yeah, something like that.
But it's always like the highest award that can ever be given.
I thought the Congressional Medal of Honor was the highest award. No. This is a President's Award. The other one's a Congressional Award.
Well, let me see. It's the Presidential Medal of Freedom, and I'm going to read, because I think it says everywhere that it's maybe it's the highest award that the president can give out.
That could be.
Yeah, so he gave it to President Clinton.
Oh!
Yep. But also to Oprah Winfrey. Now, this is interesting.
Well, she's a big supporter. She deserves it.
Well, you know that there's been a lot been a lot going on, because the president had specifically asked if Oprah would jump on the bandwagon promoting the Affordable Care Act, and she had said no, she wouldn't do it, and she sent like an intern to go take a meeting because she felt that the president, and this is just the rumor, of course, but specifically Michelle Obama, which sounds kind of feasible, and Valerie Jarrett had been keeping her away from the president, even though she'd done huge fundraisers the first time around. So she felt like, screw that guy. I'm not going to do anything. So for her to now come and accept that award could be a quid pro quo for something. She deserves it. If Clinton deserves it, she deserves it.
Oh, well, if Clinton deserves it, you do.
Yeah. yeah. Good luck with that. But what was interesting, there was Gloria Steinem also received the Freedom Award, and she said something in because it's kind of like the Grammys, it's the whole thing. Then after you have a little press moment in front of the sponsor wall, which I think was the sponsor wall was the press club or something. And she talked about someone who we have discussed on this show not too long ago. And I found it interesting, A, that she would dedicate this to this person's memory, and B, that no one really said, hey, but hold on a second.
The power of this honor may be even more evident in the withholding than in the giving. I was reminded by Ellen Chesler, biographer of Margaret Sanger, that President Lyndon Johnson, even as he signed the first federal and international family planning acts into law, refused to bestow the Medal of Freedom on Sanger. He feared reprisal from the Catholic Church. Ellen told me that when she looked at Sanger's private history papers at Smith College, I'm proud to say the biggest archive of women's history, she found a poignant little handwritten note from Sanger asking that her body be buried here next to her husband, but that her heart be removed to Japan, the only country in the world that had ever bestowed a public honor on her.
Yeah, because she was a eugenicist.
She was a eugenicist.
And she started...
She was essentially Hitler.
She said, kill black people, don't let them breed with white people. She wrote this, and of course she started Planned Parenthood, which is at the outset was
evolved.
But it was the eugenicist organization. And for Gloria Steinem to say she was great, and oh, by the way, for the entire press to not say, hey, didn't she hate black people? What is up with that?
Unbelievable.
I don't think people even know, or they. You know what it is? It's apathy. It's just apathy of people not caring. Then I got a soundbite from Steinem. She went on about some broad who had her hard to take and whatever. Fukushima. They don't know what they're talking about.
Global warming.
Yeah, and then of course, it's so obvious, and this report really hammered it home that CNN's like, hey, this is a problem. We need ratings. We need ratings here, and we got this nut job mayor of Toronto, but we can't be the Scandinavians got the lock on the crazy coked out politician. We got to get us one.
And good evening, everyone. I'm Erin Burnett. Out front tonight, we begin with the breaking news. A congressman busted for cocaine.
Yeah, we got one, too!
Florida Congressman Trey Raydill arrested for, quote, unlawfully, knowingly, and intentionally possessing cocaine.
And he's a Republican!
The freshman will appear in court tomorrow.
Yeah, and it gets better.
He faces misdemeanor charges and up to 180 days in prison.
By the way, how does that work, 180 days? If you are my brother from another mother in the hood, you're going to jail for 10, bro. 180 days. He had coke. Possession of coke, and I think he doesn't even have to do any time.
Right, well, he put a bracelet on his ankle, and that'd be that.
If that. But wait until the end, when it's the real kicker, when you find out why they're using this guy as the replacement. And by the way, they had his news conference carried live. And he's crying about how he let down his family. Dude, you did some coke. Maybe if all of our congressmen were on coke, that something would happen. Or weed. Or MDMA or something.
Dana Bash is out front with the latest. And Dana, what more can you tell us about this?
Well, Aaron, the congressman himself released a statement this evening apologizing for letting his constituents and his family down, and he also announced that he's an alcoholic. I want to read part of his
he's an alcoholic
statement. He said, I struggle with the disease of alcoholism.
Wait for undercover videos coming. You know what's coming.
And this led to an extremely irresponsible...
He's hammered and he's snorting coke with some hookers.
This is the same fractal as Ford. He's used coke because he was plastered.
Yes. I'm telling you, this is the American version because we're going to run out of steam. It's not so funny when it's a Scandinavian. It's got to be an American. But
they couldn't find a guy more entertaining. At least that other guy's funny.
Well,
Chris Farley.
This is just starting. We might have video.
As the father of a young son and a husband to a loving wife, I need
a loving wife. How do you know that, Dana Bash? She may be a nightmare to be with. Maybe that's why he's drinking. You don't know that.
Need to get help so I can be...
Oh, it's his words. I'm sorry.
...be a better man for both of them. And we also said it's a blessing in disguise because this is forcing him to get treatment. I should note that he hasn't voted at all this week, not since Friday. And one of his colleagues, a fellow freshman, told our congressional producer, Deirdre Walsh, earlier this evening that he's been trying to call Radel to offer him support, but can't reach him.
Now, he's a colorful character. He's a colorful character. That's right. We can probably expect some cool stuff from this guy. He's a colorful character.
Oh, he certainly is. Look, he is, as you said, he's a House freshman. He is not somebody who people know, but he is sort of one of those in the newer mold of members of Congress because he is 37. He is somebody who's trying to kind of be different than the elder statesman. And
I'll say
he has been pushing the envelope for Republicans as well. In fact, he did an interview. In fact, forgive me, he didn't do an interview. He wrote an online piece where he said he's a hip-hop conservative. And the way he described it is that he said, there you see it, Congressman Trey Radel, why I'm a hip-hop conservative. And he even said that Public Enemy has some conservative messages. He said fight the power is something that he sees as a quite conservative message.
Now, how do we know that this is all set up and it's all in the pocket?
We'll can read that to get a sense of that. But the other thing is that he may not be well known, but he really gravitated towards those of us who covered him, especially those of us who work in TV news, because he used to be a TV reporter before he went and ran for Congress.
Oh, there you go. A TV reporter running for Congress, drunk on coke, hanging out with Easy-E. Now, what was it? Chuck E. What was it? Who was the guy with the buck? No, Chuck D was
Chuck
not.
D.
No, who was the guy with the big clock?
That guy. Yeah.
You had Chuck D, but Chuck D was kind of normal. He's kind of like a business guy. What was this guy's name?
I can't remember it either.
Oh, wow, that's
clock.
bad.
Look it up.
I was on MTV. I don't even know what to do. Oh, God.
You had the big clock. Yeah, we had Chuck D a couple of times on the Silicon Spin show. He's a really nice guy.
Smart guy. Yeah, no, I've hung out with him a couple times.
Kind of conservative.
Well, that's what the congressman just said.
Yeah, well, there you have it.
Let's see.
Well, that congressman is going places.
Yeah,
coked up, hip hop Republican, whatever. What a jerk.
I love it. Let's see. What was that guy's name?
He had his own reality TV show too.
He still has it. It's popular, I think.
Yeah, he's got
Flavor Flav. Yeah.
Flavor Flav. Horrible show.
That's a fantastic show.
So I'm talking about douchebags like that congressman. So I'm watching 60 Minutes. I don't know if the clip really captures it, but these billionaire douchebags on 60 Minutes. There's a group of Charlie Rose has got, he's kind of always enamored with wealth. He used to always ask people what it's like to be rich.
Yeah, he's a groupie. He's a
total groupie. He's a jock sniffer. And so he's got Buffett and 4 other rich billionaires, supposedly billionaires, sitting on a perches, and then below them are 4 other or 5 other billionaires, and they're all talking about how they're going to give so much of their money away, and that's their responsibility because they've got so much of it. Yeah. And they're all just so glib and full of themselves.
Was Pierre Omidyar on there as well? Was Pierre Omidyar on the panel? He should be on there. He's one of those.
He may have been on there. But I don't remember the names of all of them, but I just remember Buffett doing this little bit at the end, laughing, and they all laughed and chuckled. It was just so. It was one of the most, and Charlie's yucking it up because of Buffett's great humor. He keeps people rolling in the aisles, apparently. And I just found the whole thing to be just a kind of Marie Antoinette moment that was just like, oh, these people are sickening.
But as Warren Buffett is finding out, not every billionaire feels that way.
I've gotten a lot of yeses when I've called people, but I've gotten a lot of no's too. And I am tempted, because I've been calling people with $1 billion or more. They can't sign up for 50%. Maybe I should write a book on how to get by on $500 million. There's a lot of people that don't really know how to do it.
Douchebag. There you go. What a dick.
Unbelievable.
Well, this does kind of fit into. We have to talk about what's happening with the NewCo news. This is so Pierre Omidyar. Finally, some people are starting to write some good articles about Pierre Omidyar, the new Daddy Warbucks for Glenn Greenwald and Laura Poitras and Jeremy Scahill. And they brought in some other guys, an editor. And now, drum roll, please, in case you hadn't heard it, John. I know you're hanging out with Captain Kirk and everything. But NYU's own Jay Rosen has now joined the team.
Oh, good.
And this is weird. So Jay Rosen.
Where's Jarvis?
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, if you follow the Twitter streams, there's a whole bunch of people going like, hey, we should talk. Hey, Jay, remember me? I did some work over here. Yeah, we should talk about, what you're doing over there with Glenn Greenwald and P.O. We call him P.O. now.
P.O.
Capital P, capital O, Pierre Omidyar.
P.O.
And what's really good is that people are starting to needle Glenn Greenwald. And this is appropriate, by the way, because essentially the way I look at it, Glenn Greenwald screwed Edward Snowden out of all his information. And he doesn't talk to Ed Snowden anymore. He got all the documents. We know that because his husband, brought it back. So he's got all the documents. And essentially Edward Snowden was like, well, hey, Moscow's not too bad. And here's Julian Assange's girlfriend. We pass her off from whistleblower to whistleblower. So tag, you're it. And even she was like, geez, this guy's boring. She's back in Germany. Probably.
Oh, she left him?
Yeah, she's hanging out with Applebaum and Poitras.
I missed that.
Oh, yeah. So, of course, Applebaum is next.
So Snowden's essentially now just stuck with Russian hookers.
If that.
Yeah.
And he got a candlestick. Hey, great. So,
the candlestick.
He got a candlestick.
What an award.
So then I call
on
him.
On a hot day, the award goes away.
Right. And so, essentially what Greenwald has now done is he has monetized with Silicon Valley. I mean, it's so obvious. This is what has happened. And so you got to read Glenn Greenwald's tweets really carefully. So, a couple things. One, there was this great article. Let me see if I can find it here. It was funny. It was on that site that we have very little regard for, which is run at nswcorp.com, which is run by that drip Paul Carr. That English guy. He didn't write it. Mark Ames and Yasha Levine, I don't know who they are. They wrote a pretty decent article called "The Extraordinary Pierre Omidyar," and it's really about these really rich, these billionaires who go into philanthropy, but the Omidyar's thing is, well, I need to make profit, so we want to enable people to we need to teach them how to fish so they can fish every single day. And he got into the which is a big thing now that's being propagated by, I guess it's Hillary Clinton, this microfinance. And
that's been going on for a while.
Right. So but there's a lot of talk about it of late. I've seen more people talk about the microfinance.
Comes and goes as a faddish thing to talk about.
So they really went deep into this thing. And a couple of these investments, particularly the Indian SKS, which was took investments from the Omidyar network. These people they go to collect, and of course it's mainly women, because the whole meme is, well, women are great. You microfinance, micro investments in women, they always pay back on time. Yes, by prostituting their children. It gets so bad, and this is all pretty well documented, because they can't pay back Omidyar's loans, his microloans. They kill themselves. They drink rat poison, and they drown themselves. And this is pretty shameful what's going on. And so these people are like noodling Greenwald, say, hey, are you going to report on your new sugar daddy about how all his great investments are killing people and they're whoring out their children to pay him back? And he's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. That's not my beat. I mean, it's just funny to watch.
It's not my beat.
It's funny to watch.
Yes, that's interesting.
It's really, really funny.
I have a beat.
And so today he came out with, or yesterday, I think, as he says, our first product. And this is, so they're doing exactly what we predicted.
They're already using the word product.
Yes, sir. And, wow. Yeah, and they sold an article to Norway, to the Norwegian. I'm sorry, that's not the right one. Where is it? And you can't read the article because it's behind a paywall, but it's double funny because the title is USA watched 33 million Norwegian calls. I guess that would be listened to, but this was as a translation. Dagbladet Gold. Let's see if we can get anything here. Dagbladet Gold by Glenn Greenwald and Arne Halvorsen. So it's exactly what we predicted. They're monetizing the Snowden documents, which they essentially took from him and gave him a candlestick.
Right. So Snowden doesn't get a piece of any of this.
None of
this money that Greenwald's now scoring.
And so I'm Googling around and I'm seeing a couple of people saying, "Oh, well, this is kind of interesting because the Russians have been." This is kind of just another step in a huge Russian anti-Norway propaganda push. Because the Russians, it's all oil and gas, and they're all up north and everything. So the Russians have been discrediting Norway for a while, which kind of makes the whole Snowden's in Russia, Omidyar is Iranian. It becomes a little transparent when you start to connect these dots. And Glenn Greenwald, I'm sorry, people, you got to question what he's doing. You really do.
Well, apparently they're starting. Well, at least the kibitzers, the ankle biters on Twitter.
Right. But then you see Jay Rosen, who was he is from New York University. He is a media critic. It's what he does. He is supposed to criticize. And he's
this
saying,
sort of thing.
Yes.
Not join it.
So they've bought him off.
I don't think it took much.
I have a personal announcement. I am joining up with the new venture in news that Pierre Omidyar, Glenn Greenwald, Laura Poitras, and Jeremy Scahill are creating, along with Lillian Segura, Dan Frumkin, Eric Bates, and others who are coming on board to give shape to this thing, which we are calling NewCo until we are ready to release the name. Oh.
Brother.
It's sickening. But it's kind of good because, it will give us more to mock.
This will be great.
As they continue.
Especially when you connect the dots and find the Norwegian story connected to the anti-Norway. Norway's an interesting country because it's one of the two that told the EU to go pound salt.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of money because of the oil reserves.
They got all the oil there.
They're
exactly.
passing the money around, and they're doing just fine without being in the EU.
They're doing great.
And exactly why I guess the Russians are probably in dispute with a couple of spots that they want to drill, but
that's what I think it is. Yeah,
but I'm sure the EU would like to defame them too. They don't like the idea of these. They can't do much about Switzerland because everybody in the EU still has to keep their money someplace that's safe from the EU.
Yep. So I think I never look at Twitter as like at the home or whatever page to see. I just go to Twitter pages directly.
Yeah, no, that's what I do.
Just to see what Glenn, and I guess maybe it was a 60 Minutes interview with the guy from the what's the guy's name who the Watergate guy, the reporter,
Liddy?
Bob Woodward.
Oh, Bob Woodward.
And so Woodward was like, wow, I'm kind of amazed that Snowden didn't come to me. And Glenn Greenwald's like, oh, really? Don't you understand, Bob Woodward? Now, here's some facts about you. He's pissing on other journalists. This is, from experience, I can tell you, this does come around.
It does.
This stuff does boomerang around, and you got to be really, really careful when you do this stuff, when you talk like this. For instance, here's an example of Elon Musk, another one of my favorites. So now we've had not one, not two, but 3 of these cars of his burst into flames.
I'm wondering, by the way, when he gets the Presidential Freedom Award.
Oh, well, he says something, and they do something at the end of this little report which came out the other day, which are words he will eat. So apparently, the Model S, if you hit something, particularly when you're driving on the highway, and I guess the suspension lowers down, and if it hits the battery, then the battery pretty much catches fire on this impact. And so now he's gone on the defensive, which is always funny.
Where is the battery pack in this car? In August, we talked to Tesla CEO Elon Musk.
Yeah. That's where the battery pack goes.
The battery pack is placed under the passenger compartment. At highway speeds, the car is just 5 inches from the ground. If debris pierces the battery pack, it can ignite. Is the challenge here kind of the fear of the unknown, the fear of the technology that some people think is still unproven?
And by the way, electric cars were driving around in 1890 and were taken out of business by the compact, much more power-to-weight ratio of the combustion engine. So this is no history.
Right, and actually, even the steam engine was more competitive.
Yeah, no questioning, no history given to the stupid media watching public as usual.
Yeah, absolutely. I think an electric car is still an unknown thing to most people. It takes most people a while to get comfortable with new technology and
iPhone caught on pretty quick
and verify that it really works as claimed.
Tesla has sold about 19,000 Model S's, so 3 fires is 1 fire per 6,333 Tesla cars. By comparison, there is 1 vehicle fire out of every 1,450 vehicles on the road.
Now here it comes, the money quote. I'm going to save it as an evergreen.
Safety was always top of the list, and at least so far, nobody has ever died in a Tesla vehicle.
Get rid of your Tesla now. Get rid of it now. That is essentially a call to arms for every single auto manufacturer to kill someone in a Tesla. Hey, he said it. Hey, get on that Silk Road thing. Get one of those guys who will kill people. Let's get someone to die in a Tesla.
Well, they've always accused. I don't believe it necessarily, but they've always accused the industry as being a monolith that does not like these sort of competitors coming in and changing the model, because there's money to be made. And there's billions of dollars being made, and they don't like the idea of some. And the real thing that he's done, Musk, that changed the model isn't the car anyway. Even though that's the easiest thing to go after. It's the fact that there's no dealers.
Yeah, and he stole Tesla's name.
Yeah, he stole Tesla's name. There's no dealers, and actually he stole the
Lotus. He stole the Lotus
from Telluride.
Initially it was the Lotus. I mean, before he made this car, it was just a Lotus body.
No, I know, but there was a longer story to this that I have to get the details of that, because Musk went and met with some guys, and then he rousted him from the company, and there's a long.
So he is the Thomas Edison of the automobile industry, essentially.
I don't even put him in that league. I think he's a really creative guy with a lot of energy gumption.
No, he has a cool accent and he looks kind of nice. That's all.
South African.
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's finish up, because they did do something.
Now, Tesla is now extending the warranty on its cars to cover fire damage, and that's fire damage even if it's caused by the driver. And Scott, this is interesting. The company is also issuing a software upgrade for the suspension system on the Model S that will prevent the cars from getting too close to the ground at freeway speeds.
Software
I would
upgrade.
think, to be honest about it, it should be closer to the ground, because if there's something that is that you hit that goes up, it would go in more of a oblique angle if the thing was down low, as opposed to if it's up high enough with the thing it's tossed up into the battery.
Well, this is why I'm not starting a car company with you, because that makes absolutely no sense what you're saying.
It makes plenty of sense.
No. Did you see any of? Well, no sooner had we ended our program on Sunday, as now remember I've predicted Bitcoin will be at 1,000 by the end of the year. And
getting there.
Yeah, well, it went up. This is why it was a beautiful example of why because currency has to be stable. This is a very important part of the whole idea. And it's not. It went up 200. It went down 200. I mean, $200 up and down. This does not a currency maketh. And part of it because of the hearings that were held 2 days in a row in Congress regarding virtual currencies, and to some degree specifically Bitcoin. And what is funny is, because of course I follow this, as we know, this is the beanie baby of this bubble, and currently it is back up at $753.18. The average here on bitcoinity.org. So a lot of people made a lot of money by doing this. But it's based, or this positive noise that you see particularly on Reddit is based on what people were saying in these hearings. And I really didn't hear anything positive, which is really interesting, because everyone's like, yeah, everyone said it was great, they support it. That's not what people were saying. I'd like to actually play something from some people who matter, who are out to screw you as an individual in general. I'd say Chuck Schumer fits right into that. This is the most corrupt person I have ever met in my life. He's on the banking committee.
You met him?
I've met him. I've interviewed him, and he gave me the creeps. He was pushing Anthony Weiner. We've talked about this.
Oh yeah, this is our old thing. Yeah,
he was Weiner. Weiner was his boy. And Schumer is always, he gets huge money from Wall Street. He's a Democrat, of course, makes total sense. And here's what he actually said about Bitcoin, which proves a couple of things. And by the way, the constant theme was near anonymity. Whenever they talk about virtual currency or Bitcoin in this context, in these hearings, yes, this is a currency that gives you near anonymity. No one said anonymous. It was always near anonymity. Because they know you're not anonymous. It's just you can move some stuff around, but if you actually want to use that money for money, unless you're buying a cloud server or something, which is about all you can buy with it, or you're ripping somebody off, or you're or drugs. but they're very expensive drugs, by the way, because of the way your stuff sits in escrow. It's totally stupid as a
the
currency.
Drugs are expensive for when Silk Road was running?
Extremely expensive.
Well, that's funny because that contradicts what, I mentioned a couple of shows ago where they showed a screenshot and all these drugs were dirt cheap.
Bullshit.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying this all is part of a giant scam.
Because on the Silk Road, they never were cheap. Because people were selling a gram of coke for like a 0. like a Bitcoin. And when we were talking about that stuff, when I was looking into it, it was like $200-300 then. Even if it was $100, that's too expensive. If you go down to the corner, yeah, no, it's very, very expensive. It's a total ripoff. I think it was really people who were buying from the Silk Road were, people who were very afraid, or novices, but not people who are actually drug users. I don't think, like, I'll try some of this. Who cares? This is the Bitcoin. I'll try some of this now. That was good. I'll try some more. Here's Schumer, and listen to what he says, because first of all, he's taking credit for taking down the Silk Road, and he doesn't really. He doesn't really understand how it works, and he's talking to the guy at BitPay. They were very. BitPay gave me an account, and so if I transfer Bitcoins into my BitPay account, although they don't tell me what the price is before I put it in. They will then say, "Oh, congratulations! We will be sending you this amount to your bank account in 2 days," which they have done when I've sent Bitcoins in. But you don't really get to negotiate on a price or anything. So, it says the price now on Mt. Gox may be $750. I might only get $500 for it if I sent it into BitPay. But you would suspect that I wouldn't be money laundering. But how does he know? How does he know what I'm doing, where I get my money from? Well, he claims he does.
Anyway, I want to thank Chairman Merkley and Warner for letting us have this hearing and allowing me to participate. I've been very interested in this issue. I have a somewhat different approach than Senator Heitkamp. A while back, as you know, I called on federal authorities to shut down the website Silk Road, which they recently did.
By the way, I never remembered him calling for that.
I don't either.
I think he's full of crap.
Many people interpreted my action at the Times as directed at Bitcoin, because Bitcoin was the sole method of payment on Silk Road, and assumed that I also wanted to shut down or stamp out Bitcoin. That is not the case. I do not want to shut down or stamp out Bitcoin.
Now, this is like, oh, yes, price goes up, positive, Chuck Schumer likes us. Let me tell you, anytime Chuck Schumer is on your side is when you got to watch your back, because there's a dagger coming.
New York sits in many ways at the nexus of all the issues being discussed today. As financial capital, the potential for creation of a new payment platform and the rise of alternative currencies could have profound and exciting implications for the way we conduct financial transactions. As a rapidly growing hub for technology and VC venture capital, New York has every interest in building on the promise that technologies like Bitcoin have to revolutionize payment systems, or even form the building blocks for whole new technology platforms.
So right now, you know that A, he didn't write this, B, he has no idea what Bitcoin is. He would know a Bitcoin from a bit tramp or a bit bucket. The guy goes and knows nothing.
But
but it's really suspicious that he's even going on like this.
Well, I got a little more if you're interested in hearing it.
Promise is threatened by the association of virtual currencies with criminal activities.
Yeah, unlike real money with criminal activities.
Yeah, that never happens.
Nope.
From purchasing illicit goods and services to money laundering.
Let me see. Do we ever purchase drugs or prostitutes with real money?
No, never happens.
No, never happens.
You have to use something like this.
Bitcoin continues to attract attention, mostly as a way to finance purchases on websites like Silk Road. It's going to find itself in a digital wasteland.
Oh, kersnap! Don't you dare try and buy no hookers and blow with your Bitcoin, because you be in a digital wasteland, because I'm Chuck Schumer, and I took down the Silk Road, biatch.
So in order for the legitimate uses of technology like Bitcoin to flourish, it's imperative that its susceptibility to illicit uses be addressed. There must be a way to separate the wheat from the chaff. How
can people take this as positive news for Bitcoin?
I don't even, play it out. This is interesting. This guy's got some angle here. I wonder what he obviously there's money involved for him.
Oh yeah.
So,
hold on. We heard that one, Chuck.
Bottom line is very simple. I would ask Mr. Gallipi.
The guy's been there for 2 hours, and Schumer still doesn't know how to pronounce his name.
Gallipi.
Yes.
I would ask Mr. Gallipi.
That's the BitPay CEO.
Do you have any specific suggestions of how we'd separate the wheat from the chaff? What would you suggest to the witnesses on panel 1 to ensure that we address legitimate law enforcement concerns without duly inhibiting the development of these promising new technologies? Mr. Gallipi.
Yes, thank you, Senator Schumer. So I think you have to first understand that there's multiple parts of Bitcoin. There is the low-level protocol, which are the bits and bytes that make it work, and then there's the application and service layer that businesses and consumers can engage in. And this is typically where you find businesses like mine operating. So when you want to try to separate the legitimate uses from the illegitimate ones, clearly, the point to do that are by the visible service providers like ourselves, like BitPay. We have over 12,000 businesses using our service to accept Bitcoin, and we have a very strict know your customer policy to make sure that we know every merchant, who they are and what they're selling.
So this is my point exactly. Here we are. How long until someone determines that those guys doing that podcast, they're not okay? That can't be a customer of yours. You can't be accepting Bitcoins from them. You can't be doing that. Who knows what they're getting money from Russians, from our Iranians, from Dutch. They could be terrorists.
Dutch.
Cut them off.
Because we only want the legitimate and good actors using our service.
Oh well, we're great actors. I mean, geez, I've been in Swamp Thing. I'm a fantastic actor. And John, he'll be good when he gets his bit part.
Yes.
The bad guys are going to try to figure it out how to do it on their own. But it shows you with the recent arrest of the guy from Silk Road that just because you use Bitcoin doesn't mean that you can evade law enforcement, right? They caught the guy. He's in jail. So
we don't know anything about this.
Yeah.
What?
The guy they picked up, we still don't know anything if he's involved or what his role was. Whatever happened to that? We don't even hear the story anymore.
So I think there's a lot of effort, and services like ours and others are willing to work with regulators.
For this idiot.
Yeah, you're right. Well, it's funny you say that because the LAX guy, what was his name again?
Soon they forget.
Yeah, exactly. No, I know it. Paul Anthony, CIA and CIA.
CIANCIA.
Yeah. He was discharged from the hospital and no one knows where he went. I'm not kidding.
What?
This is from...
Okay, you got me on this one.
Unfortunately,
I get 1 point.
I don't have a clip, unfortunately, but here's from KTLA 5 in L.A. I'm sure they'll have a video for it later, but I'm on the wrong time zone. Paul Ciancia, the suspected gunman in November 1 shooting spree at LAX, has been released from the hospital and was in federal custody, but no one knows exactly where. No court appearance has been scheduled. No details about his custody status or the location where he's being held are being released, according to the United States Attorney's Office for the Central District of California. And so the news media is like, well, we don't know where he is. Oh, well.
I'm watching. I have to bring this up. So one of the things I do want to talk about is the plane that crashed.
Okay.
And we're still. This was a breaking news story. We have information that indicates there's a bunch of General Electric finance guys on board.
Yeah, it was actually it was a couple of guys from the GE Capital, and they were about to sell a division of GE to a Russian bank. It wasn't a huge deal, but those guys were on board, and we heard about that from our producer who works at GE. Not a lot of coverage at all about there being GE Capital people on the plane.
There was no coverage at all that I could find. And then there was a couple of dignitaries, and we don't know. I mean, there's a lot of action. I was doing some research on this area, and there's a lot of anti-nuke stuff that focuses on them, a lot of terrorism activity. The story wasn't covered. And so the day of the crash, I decided, well, let's see what the network news people have about it, because that will be interesting. And so nobody carried it. Nobody talked about this crash we're talking about the network stuff. So I'm listening to Diane Sawyer.
Oh, is she drunk?
She was in between. She was a little slurry, but it wasn't bad.
Well, hold on.
Drunk again. Drinking sand, drunk again.
All right.
This is ABC World News. ABC World News.
World News.
There is no world news on this show. And so I'm watching the whole thing, and here's the way the show ends. It never talks about this plane crash. Never talks about, we're obviously not going to talk about the GE guys being on the crash or dead Americans. Usually that gets news coverage. No, nothing. This is the way the world news ends with Diane. So this is the way it ends.
And it's an American classic, A Boy and His Dog. Well, a modern take tonight on that idea. Meet Bo, the 2-year-old toddler, and Theo, the 3-month-old puppy, napping together. Mom snapping away. Tonight, everyone sharing a little of this nestled up puppy love. And coming up next, right here tonight, 50 years after the death of an American president, the film that captured that moment, showing us something in a whole new way tonight.
Yeah, World News. That's right.
World News. It was a picture of a baby and a dog sleeping together. Just kind of.
It's a very cute picture. I've seen the picture.
It's a very cute picture. It's not World News. It's a YouTube photo or a Flickr photo. I mean, it's so there's Instagram. No coverage. There's nothing on this show.
And it was the GE Money Bank. That's what GE Money Bank, Russia's Sovcombank, is slated to buy this thing. I have the link here. It's just I think it's like $1 billion deal. I was trying to find anything else, with GE Capital. They've been trying to spin off their credit card business. They've been trying to do that for a while, actually. I don't think that has anything to do with it. But, so there is, there's that. And then one of our producers was very kind because he did something that we couldn't even get over here. I've looked all over the aviation forums. He translated what the Russians wrote about what was on the black box. Now, his translation was, not exactly completely aeronautical terms, but what it sounds like to me is this 737 did a go-around, which is when you don't feel comfortable landing for whatever reason, you go around and you try it again, and you call go-around. But when they did the go-around, they only pulled the flaps to 50. Now, I'm not rated on a 737, so I'm only I'm literally flying by the seat of my pants as an aviator. What I know, it appears that they overpulled and and stalled the aircraft. It went below, which I think is about 140 knots indicated. Is about the stall speed. So it says they were about 125 knots at 700 meters, and 700 meters is what? That's about 1,400 feet? Not even. No, times 3, 1,200 feet. No, 2,000 feet.
About 2,000 feet.
Yeah, 2,100. So 2,000 feet, in order to recover from a stall, which the only way to do that is to push the nose down and full throttle until you can pull it up. I'm pretty sure. I mean, you can do that in a Cessna, but I'm pretty sure that's not enough room for a 737. And
those things are not.
But there is nothing else to do. I mean,
they put the nose down and slammed into the ground nose first.
That's what you saw. I mean, and we don't even know what we saw. We just saw some video of something slamming into the ground. But so we really have very little information. But this, of course, immediately reminded me of the entire Polish government when they flew to Russia.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. The Polish government.
Same thing. It was like, oh, we can't land, and then all of a sudden they're crashing.
Somebody was commenting on one of the Russian forums about why did they do the go around in the first place? Because they were not only cleared for land, but they were in pretty good shape. So who knows? Whatever the case is,
it can be. You can scratch your nose and not feel good. I mean, but maybe I'm thinking, if anything, maybe something happened on that aircraft. That's the only thing that I can think of. It doesn't seem like there were a lot of external factors. So something must have been going on the flight deck, and you don't know. You don't know. But there were, and it was also only like 30 people. Was this a private flight? That's all very unclear. 50
people.
Yeah, but the 737, can do a lot more than that.
They hold about 200.
Yeah.
But I was on the flight I took Southwest coast to coast, which I rarely do. Oh, and by the way, I do have to talk about, I got into TSA pre as a test.
Wait, you're in the pre-check?
I'll tell you that, but let me just mention this. So I'm taking Southwest across the country. I never did this before, and it's a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
And what I figure, what the American and these other guys are cramming you in, they're charging you for bags, and now they're charging you for carry.
But Southwest doesn't charge you for bags.
No, I'm saying these other carriers do.
Yeah.
So why don't I just take Southwest and I stop in Kansas City for a few minutes? I get out, stretch my legs, grab some barbecue seasoning, and get back on the plane. And the flight from Oakland to Kansas City was half empty. There couldn't have been more than 60, 70 people on the flight because everyone going to Disney World.
Right.
So it's possible. I mean, who's going to be flying around there anyway? I mean, yeah, I know it doesn't sound right. But I've been on flights like that occasionally. Nobody's on the flight.
Okay. Yeah, but these were all dignitaries, and I just wondered if it was privately chartered. There was another thing. There's a new law.
We never find out anything because the little puppy dog sleeping next to the baby. It's a lot more important.
Oh, we also have the Brittany Murphy two to the head story. Let me do the. In fact, we have the
another tale of the Hollywood Whackers.
There are new questions surrounding the death of actress Brittany Murphy. A lab report suggests Murphy, who died in 2009 at the age of 32, may have been poisoned. Her official cause of death was pneumonia and anemia, but an independent toxicology report ordered by Murphy's family detected heavy metals and toxins commonly found in rat poisons and insecticides. The report also suggests a, quote, perpetrator with criminal intent may be responsible.
So this has been suspicious to a lot of people for a long time. Her husband died 5 months after Brittany Murphy, also of pneumonia. So these are two relatively young people dying of pneumonia within a relatively short time. So a lot of people have asked questions for a while, and now there's this report. So the mystery continues.
Woo, the mystery continues, and now on to our puppy and dog sleeping story.
Well, she did report that something was going on beforehand.
Yeah, oh yeah. That was, and we talked about it, I think, briefly.
Yeah.
Maybe they just had bad coke from the Silk Road with rat poison cut in.
Rat poisoning is your filler.
Anything's possible.
Yeah, it is. Anything is possible.
It's or maybe they just said, let's try some rat poison. You don't know. You don't know where these kids and these Hollywood kids. Although it happened in New York. But yeah, but that's much more important than this. So there was also the. I guess Russia is. Although it would be pretty extreme. What's extreme these days to get something done? Russia wants to usher in some legislation that you can't be flying planes that are more than 20 years old. That's what our Russian producer sent us.
Yeah.
Like, okay, this plane was 20 years old, so, okay, maybe. I don't know. From an aviation standpoint, with what I know, which is pretty much nothing, it seems like a bad day.
Yeah, it seems like a bad day. And there's plenty of planes that fly over 20 years old.
Yeah, oh yeah. It's not like every nut and bolt is 20 years old. Every element on these aircraft have a life cycle, and they get replaced. Everything. Yeah, so it's essentially a new plane, except for the parts of the actual frame, which just can't be replaced.
Yeah.
I tell you what, John.
Those are pretty well built.
Why don't we take a little break here?
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda in the morning.
All right, we have a few people with $111.11 to start us off, including Jeffrey Stackroth from Norfolk, Virginia. He says he desperately needs a de-douching and some job karma. We'll do that for him since we'll be talking about these guys. So that's a Making It Rain. Making It Rain donation with no name, so I don't have to deal with it.
Okay.
Tijuana, Baja California in Mexico. Sir Oscar Nadal. I don't have a note from him.
But he's also making it rain.
He's making it rain. And I guess they're all making it rain for Sophie, Pearl, and Matilda.
What does Sir Richard Gardner have from Chicago? He makes it rain too, right?
Yeah, but he's got no name mentioned. Let me take a quick look at the mail. To search for Oscar Nadal. See if there's anything in here. Oscar Nadal.
Let me see if I can do echo for you today. Because I'm not.
Oh yeah, give me an echo.
Yeah, I'm not on the regular rig. You see, so it's. Let me see. Echo. What should we do? Echo. Dub delay? No. Delay. There we go.
Reverb.
Hold
Reverb. Nothing from Oscar. Nothing from Oscar.
Hold on. That's wrong.
Hello.
Give me a little test.
Ladies and gentlemen, get ready.
This is bad. This is bad. That's a delay. That's not an echo. Hold on. That's not going to cut it.
That's not going to work.
Now I can't stop it. Oh my God. This is bad.
Hello, everybody.
Hold on a second. It doesn't have
architecture.
Stop. This is bad. Dub delay. I don't think I have sample delay. This is horrible, John. Let me try this one. Give me a little audio.
Hello. How do I sound?
No, like crap. There's no. I don't think I can do it. For some reason, I don't have. That's crazy. You'd think I'd have
some sort of reverb, delay, or echo.
Yeah. Well, I have a delay, but it's a really long delay. It's not good.
Can't you change the milliseconds?
Yeah, I'm trying to. Hold on. Here's the dynamics processor, distortion, filter, high pass. These are pretty much the standard. We never have to do any kind of echo, so I'm not prepared for this. All I got, dub delay?
Sorry.
All right, let me try this.
Is any good? Hello.
Okay, try again.
Hello, ladies and gents. Get ready.
Okay, this will work.
Ready?
Yeah, hold on a second. Ready? Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, get ready because here they come. On stage one, put your hands together for Sophie.
Just like a stripper.
Jello. On stage one, we have Paul. Loves camping, barbecue, and sausage making. The long one. Stage two, Hilda. This beauty likes puppies and kittens, and standing on her head. Maybe you'll get lucky. Matilda.
All right. Well, I can't wait to be back in Austin to make it rain properly. That was one of our funnier ones.
Was it?
Well, it depends on how you look at it. Well, you just dropped down in volume big time. Hello?
Because I probably boosted the hell out of it with all that yelling.
Yeah, we'll see if it picks up. It's like something kicked in and really lowered your volume.
Got an auto on here. Hold on.
Oh. Whatever you did, undo it.
I'm undoing it as we speak. How's that? Is that better?
Yeah, a little better. Maybe I can fix it here.
Automatically.
Wow, I can't even fix it here. Wow.
Hold on. Turn myself up. How's
there
this?
You go. Yeah, thank you. Much better. Yeah, much better.
Hello, everybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, people feel that our strip joint was pretty sleazy today. Like a cheap-ass strip joint.
That's what it's supposed to be.
No, but this was like really, really shit.
The real crummy places. You go in and you look around and then you just turn right around and go right out.
That's right. You hear that announcement, you're like, okay, I'm not making it rain here. I'm not. Exactly. All right, onward.
Yeah, so I'm sorry. I've been fooling around with the Skype here. Now I got to go back to the spreadsheet. So let's see what else we got. We got Sir Borislav Marinov, our buddy, from Eliso Viejo for $77.77. That's all we got for $77.77, by the way.
Wow.
He got the house in the loan. He wants to let us know. Good news. Bad news is I have a $700,000 mortgage.
Oh, well, but he still got what he wanted. We're happy.
I guess, you're good with the bad. Brian Clark, $75.75 from Saginaw, Michigan. Thomas Lane, $75.75 from Vista, California. By the way, Brian, we got a birthday for you. Grant McHerron.
69, dude.
Wow.
That is it. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't even be playing that jingle. We're not playing the out jingle anymore.
All right.
Onward. Ryan Van, 6666 from Mesa, Arizona. These things come and go. We have right now 11111 seems to be the kind of the interesting one.
Well, hello.
Ron Vitale, Vitale, I think is what it is, or $65 from Haverton, Pennsylvania. Andrew Haverson, $50 in Gravenhurst, Ontario. These are all $50. Dan Greb in Lansdale, Pennsylvania. Eric Veet in Dublin, California. Eric's Harjo in Cardiff, UK. Kyle Bauer comes in twice, apparently, from Worcester, Ohio. Michael Gates from Colorado Springs. And finally, Steven Sandler in Birmingham, Alabama. And he says he's a longtime boner. He's got a birthday coming up. And his sister in the mouth a while ago was spurred to shed my boner status the other day. Recently graduated from college and managed. He says graduated college. Stephen, we talk about this. You didn't graduate college because you didn't have a college to graduate. You graduated from college. This is a European affliction.
It's an English affliction.
It's an English affliction.
British, I should say. British,
yes. Going to hospital. Anyway, so we got a birthday call out for his sister. And that's it. That's all we got.
Wow. All right. Well, I'll be happy when we get back. Usually it gets better when we get back. Do people just not like it when we're on the road? Should we just not do the show?
I think our shows are more interesting when we're on the road because we see some local stuff.
Yeah, like Bill Shatner, and be honest.
Right, there you have it.
Oh, could you imagine Bill Shatner doing the Make It Rain segment?
Oh, God, that'd be great.
Oh, that'd be so awesome. Oh, wow.
Yeah, well,
you got to suck up to the handler.
Boy, she just looked like a mean. Like she knew karate.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you very much for supporting us, and we certainly do hope that you will support us some more coming up on Sundays. We'll be back at our respective studios for more of the best podcast in the universe.
Dvorak.org/NA. Donate enough to be a knight someday.
It's your birthday.
Yes, indeed, Sir Laurie Julia, 33 tomorrow on the 22nd of the 11th month. Jutila. Oh, he's going to hate me for that. Well, Sir Laurie, thank you very much. Teresa Huxley says happy birthday to her brother Jeff. Sir Borislav Marinov says happy birthday to Mom, turning 67 today. Brian Clark turned 21 recently. Stephen Sandlin, happy birthday to his sister Kelly. He turned 26 on November 23rd. Apparently she hit him in the mouth, or did he hit her in the mouth? Well, it's sibling stuff for sure. And Jason Binder says happy birthday to his son Zachary, born on October 5th, a brand new human resource. We welcome you to Gitmo Nation, Zachary. From all your buddies here, the best podcast in the universe.
It's your birthday, yeah.
And of course, no nightings or anything today. No changes because of the levels we've received. Let me see.
Well, I have to mention we didn't get any checks because I was not to pick up the checks.
True. Just another bit on Euroland since I'm here, and there is some. It's kind of exciting, I think, what's happening with multiple parties around the Eurozone, and this is something that Nigel Farage had already kind of pre-announced would start happening. And I didn't play that clip, I don't think, but he was yelling at Van Rompuy or Barroso or someone saying, "Oh, there's something happening. There's a swell coming." And this was something that happened just here recently in Gitmo Lowlands, according to Euronews.
Holland's Eurosceptic politician Geert Wilders, head of the Freedom Party, alongside French National Front leader Marine Le Pen, had a session in the Dutch Parliament. It is their hope to forge closer ties between the two parties and an eventual permanent alliance in the European Parliament, with anti-immigration one of their main policies. It is the second such meeting in what is seen as a growing relationship ahead of next year's European elections.
We
want to give back freedom to our people. We want to give back sovereignty to our countries. Those two things alone should be enough to justify the fact we are here at the start of working together. Analysts believe the two could team up with groups such as the Vlaams Belang in Belgium and Austria's Freedom Party. To form an alliance, they would need a minimum of 25 MEPs from at least 7 EU member states. Le Pen's National Front was ahead in a recent opinion poll in France for May's European elections. Wilders' Freedom Party currently tops opinion polls in Holland.
But this is what you got to watch out for, is you'll be hearing things soon in the media, for those of you who are in the Euroland zone, such as far-right, fascist, neo-Nazis, racist. You watch. Homophobes.
Of course.
Yeah, that's the Golden Dawn Party in Greece. They've arrested him.
Of course.
They just arrested him. What else? Well, we have UKIP. Yeah, it's fun to see what is happening, and it'll be more interesting, obviously, to see if they can connect all of those parties. And it's kind of fun because Marine Le Pen's party and Geert Wilders do have some very definite opposite views on certain things, but they both feel that the elitist a-holes have to get out. So it should be fun. It should be some interesting little fireworks. Although, unfortunately, it's messing up everything else. Like what we need over in the States, we need this European free trade agreement. We needed this stuff, and it's all going to mess it up.
So the PTT, apparently, I was watching RT, and there's this woman. I'm going to look her up and get more quotes from her. She's gone over the thing with a fine-tooth comb. Her name is Lori Wallach, and she was on the show with Leggy, that woman. She was explaining the PTT's got a couple of very interesting little gotchas in there.
You mean the TPP?
The TPP,
okay. All right.
Trans-Pacific Trade, whatever it is.
Well, you mean the Asian one or the European one?
Yeah, the Asian one.
The TPP. Yeah.
Yeah, the TPP, the Asian one. It has. It apparently gives it within the document. It gives the president. Right now, Congress has all control over commerce.
Yeah.
Well, this transfers it to the president, to the executive office.
Hello.
It's just hilarious. And there was one other gotcha in there.
But John, you'll agree with me. The document gives nobody nothing. It's just it's still an ongoing conversation.
I know, but it opens the door, because if the Congress passes, which she doesn't think they will, I think that the executive office just wants to take over the place.
Yeah.
And the Congress has already given up way too much power. This war thing is completely out of control. This is what happens when the president gets to declare war, or whatever you want to call these battles, on a whim. It's just the Congress is just given up. I mean, I don't know what their problem is. They should be like dominating the situation, but they're not. They're just a bunch of passive puppies
with boys sleeping,
with little boys, and you can take pictures of them. Anyway, that's fun. It was kind of interesting.
I'd like to take us to...
Oh, by the way, I'm watching this RT network. Larry King's on it now.
Oh, yeah. No, I know. Hey, who did he have on?
I got the quote of the year from Larry King. He was interviewing somebody. He says, and this is the quote, "No Jews like cats."
Wow. Larry King said that?
Yeah. I don't know. Where does that come from?
O.M. Jew?
Anyway, go on.
Adam's gonna read his email on the No Agenda Show.
There are a couple of topics that we broach from time to time on the No Agenda Show that really hit a chord with people. And I kind of expected it, but not to the degree. I'm only going to read one for you today. Adam and John, I was listening to the latest show and have some insight into how Common Core will affect college. Now, Common Core is, man, we struck it with this one, John.
This is a huge winner. This is going to take us through the year easy.
and it turns out
and we do admire the high school kids. I was talking about this with somebody the other day. It's like high school kids who listen to this show, when they write in, it's always really interesting. Their observations are very, very unique.
The fact that they're listening to the show and then write in, and it warms my heart, I will tell you.
They're not slouches.
No. So this is, I'm a PhD student in engineering mechanics, which is basically applied physics with an engineering focus, currently researching education, i.e. flipped classrooms and team-based learning, in addition to my PhD research. Common Core will affect universities. Common Core is being implemented in K-12. Something similar is being actually slowly implemented in undergraduate and graduate programs. Universities are now businesses, and a business can best maximize profit by maximizing throughput while minimizing quality, all the while convincing the public that its product is absolutely necessary for survival. And this is a good observation because you're seeing the pattern start to form here when, the president, one of his main points of the American dream is, besides retiring with dignity, is sending your kids to college. All academic standards are being constantly lowered to meet the throughput requirements because the students, i.e. the customers, are coming in with less and less ability. A college education will still be necessary. After all, how can you get a job without a bachelor of dronedom? Here's the current education climate in colleges and universities. Note that these are current trends and that these trends are slow to take hold because most professors are too lazy to implement them. Some professors do actually care about education. So he gives us some education buzzwords to look out for. TBL, which is task-based learning, I think. Flipped classroom, continuous improvement. Of course, STEM education, we knew about that. Underrepresented minorities. Let's see. He ends up here. Oh, for some reason, I'm missing the second half of this. Oh, this is no good. Oh, crap. Well, that was really good. I really set us up for that,
except for the conclusion.
I got us all the way to the conclusion, which I didn't have for some reason. Well,
talking about crazy, but I ran another one besides the architecture.
There's
VOC.
VOC?
I'm going to do these now, and you have to guess what they mean.
VOC. And is this a Common Core thing, or is this a marketing
No, this
thing?
is a marketing thing, just so you'd find it.
The voice of the customer.
You knew this?
No, it's easy to guess once you get into the idiocy of it. Oh yeah, that's not that hard. Here's another one. What is that one guy I was bitching about? It's stuff like that. It's all the whole thing is all marketing talk. I don't want to get off track of the Common Core thing because I have like all this stuff that I've looked into.
All right, go.
Yeah, okay. So it's really Pearson. This is what it comes down to.
Somebody did send us. You mentioned this. We should probably put it in the show notes.
It's in the show notes. It's a diagram that shows you all the things that are linked to Common Core. Now, of course, Common Core was really implemented and funded by the Council of Governors. But when you really pick up the curtain and look behind it, Pearson is really the company that has the most skin in the game. And
the big publishing company.
Yeah, so they own Penguin, Wharton, Puffin, Prentice Hall, just everybody. I mean,
Can I give my Pearson story just to give you a little background on how these guys operate?
Please.
So in the early days of the computer business, there was all these computer books that would come out, and there was all these independent computer book companies selling computer books. If you went to the store, there'd be computer books about, WordStar and all the rest of them, all by 10 different publishers. And Pearson decided that the best way to go about taking over the business was just buy all the publishers. So they bought everybody. They bought Simon & Schuster. They bought Macmillan. They bought Peach Pit Press. They bought everybody. But the core company that they ran was Q. And Q was, which was out of the Midwest, and Q was interesting in one way and one way only. They paid no royalties. Q did everything. It's like, here's $5 $5,000 or $10,000, write me a book, and then go away.
You're done.
Everybody else was a normal book publisher, and they paid whatever royalties, 7 to 15%. So now they owned all the companies, and so every company had, their same bunch of writers working for them. So let's say Macmillan had a book that they were going to print, and let's say I think Prentice Hall's even in this group. They put a book out about some product. The book starts to sell well. Immediately, they take and have a guy do the book for Q and put all their publishing, PR, and all the efforts
behind their own
to
book.
marketing the Q book.
Right.
To screw anybody that actually had to be paid royalties.
Right.
And this is the way I always thought this was actually genius from their perspective, because it was just basically, but it was again to screw, this like, let's play the game, let's play this new game we've come up with. And so now I would believe, it wouldn't surprise me in the least that they were right behind this whole scam.
Well, so they're really the guys who are cashing in, but there's a couple other little organizations that we have to look at. One of them being America's Promise Alliance. And this is set up by Colin Powell and his wife, and this goes back to, this is 15 years old. And if you look at the alliance, it's americaspromise.org, and if you look at who's involved in this thing, let's look at the trustees. Let's see, we have Kathy Payne of State Farm Insurance. We have Stacey Stewart of United Way. We have Nicole Anderson of AT&T. We have, let me see, I just want to get the names that we all know. Let me go down here. Wow, this list is so incredibly long. The Casey Family Programs. We have George W. Bush Institute. We have the Gay, Lesbian, Straight Education Network, the Boys and Girls Club of America, Voices for National Service, of course, the National Governors Association. We have the National PTA.
Well, I'm looking at the partners page, and it shows that this one page has 81 out of 160 out of 369 partners, all on the level that you're mentioning. First Bank, First Focus,
right.
Firefighters, Finance Project, Feed the Children, Fidelity Corporation, Ford Foundation, Ford Motor Company Fund.
Let's look at the board of directors. So, of course, Alma J. Powell, who is Colin Powell's wife, is the chair. Then we have Kathleen Murphy. She is the secretary, so, of course, she's with Fidelity. Then we have General Powell himself. Then we have Donna and James Barksdale. Isn't he the Netscape guy? James Barksdale? So these are all really rich people who all, want to make the world better. And, of course, they're the ones to do it because they're rich, so they're right. That's how it works. They're rich.
Well, everything they do is right.
Everything they do is got to be fantastic.
We should be feel privileged to be in their presence.
And so you look at you were mentioning the partner page. So I found one of their partners is Crayola. And they are funding something called the Partnership for the 21st Century Skills. You got to see this thing. I mean, this is all that this is connected to teaching your children not how math works, but how to apply math in everyday situations, i.e., giving change at the drive-thru. So the Strategic Council, which is p21.org, Partner for 21st Century Skills. You have to look at this, John. p21.org. On the executive board, the president of Lego Education. We have Dr. Elizabeth Fogel of the Walt Disney Corporation. We have Robert Lippincott, of course, of Strategic Partnerships at PBS. We have, of course, Kathy Hurley, who is Vice President of Education Alliances of the Pearson Foundation. Where you going, love? Oh, okay. Tell her I said hey. Hey, guys. Bye. We have, let's see, what is down here? Crayola, of course, is on the board here. So all these people are all UNICEF. It's really Common Sense Media. Oh, my God. Remember those guys? Common Sense Media?
No, I'm trying to.
Oh, hold on a second. We did a whole thing on Common Sense Media. Hold on, let me find these guys. They are the ones that do. Didn't they do like ratings or something? Let me see. What the hell were these guys about? I remember we looked into them. It was another one of those. Anyway,
government tax money goes into this crap.
It's billions of dollars. Billions of dollars.
Crap.
Now,
and you wonder why the government spends so much money. I mean, then Powell, of course, all these ex-government guys, they can't just leave out their life without getting rich on this crap.
Yeah, and then we have...
They know somebody.
So Crayola, yes, the people who make crayons, they have launched the Creativity as 21st Century Skill Program at the U.S. Department of Education. That, by the way, is the definition of fascism. When you have the government in bed with the crayon company. Are you kidding me? Crayola has teamed up with the National Association of Elementary School Principals, the National Art Education Association, and the Partnership for 21st Century Skills, P21, to create the Champion Creatively Alive Children program. The fuck is that? Champion Creatively Alive Children program. What is that? If you don't champion dead people, or I don't know, what is this? Creativity is a skill that every child needs, said Mike Perry, Crayola president and chief executive officer. We started this program asking ourselves, what if every principal and teacher championed creatively alive children in their schools? Creatively alive. Okay. So it turns out this is also happening in other parts of the world. And remember we talked about the number lines and all these crazy concepts. It's predominantly the math part. This is now also happening here in Gitmo Lowlands. The exact same thing. And it's really astounding how far here they call it the Cijferlijnen, which is basically number lines. It has the same names, and you know it's this new
corruption
way.
This is I want to mention I got a letter from one of our producers that I believe it was a female. She said until you talked about SMSG, Student Math Study Group out of MIT, which...
Hold on, John, I lost you. Come back. I completely lost you there. Are you still there? Oh, I'm reconnecting. Let me see, did I lose the stream? I don't think so. Let's see. Oh, we still appear to be streaming. Oh, would you like to leave a video message for John? No, I'd like you not to interrupt our call. Thank you very much. Crapola. I'll see if he reconnects. Let me see. I can go back and do a little bit more on this. Some of the stuff I got in from Common Core. Arnie Duncan, who is the Secretary of Education here in the United States of Gitmo Nation. He's backpedaling a little bit about what he said about it was just urban white moms who were all in a huff and a puff about the Creative Core standards. Okay. I think, you know what happened? Here's what I'm thinking happened. I'm thinking, I'll try to call John again, that maybe he's in the hotel room and he had bought the Wi-Fi, and but he only, it's cheap. So maybe he'd only bought it until a certain time and they just cut him off. Oh, wow. No, it's not. He says he's online. Let me check Skype Lady. Make sure it's all working here.
Hello, welcome to Skype Core Testing Service.
Oh, she's working. Try again. It doesn't even look like he's online, really. get him back. I don't mind doing the edit. I have to would you put you.
I think my internet went down.
Yeah, we were thinking that you getting kicked out of the room. You have to check out, and the internet just died.
Check this guy out.
Hey, pull a plug on that mofo.
Anyway,
right,
so
tell me again about the email from our female producer.
Yeah, she said that she always wondered why she never could do calculus when she got to college, and realized that when I told her about SMS, she had the same thing. She got shoveled into this bullcrap program, which was discontinued, and now she realizes it ruined. It made you think awkwardly, and you couldn't do calculus. It was a complete disaster.
It's funny because I got one email from one of our producers who he's like, I'm a genius and I can program in 30 computer languages, and you're wrong about Common Core because this is higher level thinking. I'm like, yeah, you are exactly the problem. This is exactly what we do. The kids need to learn, long division, and I don't see how there can be a new system based upon essentially visual memory tricks, because I've really been looking at this. A lot of people are sending in. I wish I could find this. There was one email I got, and it was like, the question was like, and this was for his third grader. What is 47 plus 23? And then the second
69
question
immediately.
Yeah. And the question after that was, why did you not get to this by adding 10 plus 40 first or something? It's like what?
Yeah, right. I got that letter too.
Do you have that image? He sent us it was like an image that was a part of it.
It was insanity.
Yeah, but yes. So I'm like, wow, how does this really? People got to stop this.
Well, we have to get to the bottom of it. There's more to it than, we have the graph, we have the chart the one guy did, and we identified Pearson. There's also a couple of players that I've noticed. A couple of names keep cropping up on that chart. And
I think so. Pearson, of course, is the big name. And then there's a whole bunch of people who are just sitting around in a circle jerk because they're all rich and they all have to fix everything and make it better. And it's guys like Bill Gates, because Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation are very big into this. I think it's because after the programming guy note, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. A whack job who's really good at programming, which, by the way, I don't think is a math skill. I think writing code is more writing than anything. It's not necessarily.
Well, historically, programmers are always considered failed mathematicians.
My point.
Yeah.
But it's like for some reason we have to teach them this applied math, and it just I've looked at it. I've had other teachers I know look at it, and they're like, I have no idea what they're even saying in this thing. What are we teaching these kids? It seems to defy logic, and all it does essentially is, I think, get them ready for some kind of test. But the test may not be, here's a mathematical problem. The test may be, Pete works at the drive-thru and has to have 15 hamburgers ready by 7:30. If someone comes up with an EBT card, what else could it be, John?
Yeah, make sure to say, would you like fries with that? and you want something to drink.
Yeah, in addition to that, of course, it's completely removing educators from the equation. They now become spreadsheet jockeys, and it's not. I can't point to one single thing because just the deluge of information and videos and documents that is being sent by people is quite astounding. And I think the general consensus is it's all pretty much crap.
Well, what's interesting to me is that nobody except this show, your No Agenda show, seems to be discussing it in these terms. I mean, nobody. I have not heard any critical analysis of this or read anything. I mean, we do have a few producers who've noticed a few things.
Yeah, no, we got a couple of links to look at, but nothing really mainstream for sure. So what about, here's an interesting one. And all this is in the show notes, of course, 567.nashownotes.com. Let me see. This is, it's a catchy little title. This is actually from the Orlando Sentinel, so right down the street from you, John.
Yeah, I'll go over and say hi.
Common Core comments run from great to commie brainwashing.
Oh, well, that's a way to, there you go.
That's how you do it.
You know what that accomplishes.
That's how you do it. What does it accomplish? Nothing.
It accomplishes only nut jobs are against this.
Exactly.
You want to associate. It's associative. You take a thing that's a piece of crap, and then you associate the negative input with some nut jobs.
Right.
And then so you have to accept it because otherwise you're a nut job.
So this is kind of the typical mainstream reporting now that I look at this article. I recall again, Florida's Common Core education standards make for dry reading. Yeah, it's dry. Oh, boy. But they've created such a fierce political battle, mind you, political battle, not about educators or teachers who hate this crap, that when the state asked for public comments, more than 19,000 of them poured in, and then they have a sampling. Let's do a little sampling here. No Common Core, period. Our federal government can no longer be trusted. Keep everything having to do with schools at the state level. No for the common good. Commie brainwashing, wrote a parent. So that's what they start off with. So there's your Tea Party nutjob Republican with a gun. What's more dangerous to a child than a stranger with candy? How about a government subliminally attacking our children with negative reading material in our schools? It is my feeling this is an attempt to attack the minds of our young to adapt a liberal, passive mindset. Stop Common Core as quickly as you can, wrote a resident. Yeah, you're right. This is really the extreme stuff. And now on the other side, I love Common Core. Please do not bend to political pressure from a small group of non-educators, wrote one teacher. Keep all the Common Core state standards. This is the true abbreviation is CCSS. Students in Florida need to be held to the same high standards as the rest of the United States. We want our students to be able to compete in the job market now and in the future. Yeah, how about the artists, the musicians, the crazy ones? This is exactly what we want our students to do. It is the heart of mathematics instruction, wrote a teacher. And so just to wrap this up for now, because we'll get a lot of email. There's this one of these guys who's a part of this who wrote some of these books that are part of this new mathematical applied thinking. Is a gentleman named James Stewart. Are you familiar with James Stewart?
He used to be an actor. Dead now.
No. James Stewart made his fortune writing textbooks. And this is a great article we have in the show notes. In his 18,000 square foot home, which is one of the most important homes in North America. He's a Scandinavian. And he wrote one of these books. He's been writing a lot of these books, but it was apparently a bestseller. And his house cost $30 million. So, these are the guys that are in on this great Common Core stuff.
The guy's a textbook writer, and he's living in a $30 million house?
Yeah.
Wow. I took the wrong road.
Uh-huh. And all I got was the Silk Road. Hey-o. All right. I think they're about to shut down all your internet, so we should probably...
Yeah, probably not a bad thought.
Truck on out of here. You're flying back now, right? Or in a couple of...
Yep.
An hour or so? Okay. I will be leaving tomorrow, and I shall arrive tomorrow evening late in Austin, Tejas. And we'll be busting my little behind to make sure we got some good stuff for Sunday. I think the Common Core stuff will continue. There's some War on Men stuff we got to talk about, internet freedom, a lot of activity in Africa. And don't forget...
Bullying. Don't forget bullying.
Don't forget bullying. Don't forget it is also...
I've got an interesting commercial, but actually it's a news story, which turns out to be a Butterball commercial.
Do we play that as end of show clip here?
You could. I'll set it up. It's a classic produced Butterball, commercial that somebody gave to a station and said, here, here's play this. But the kicker on this one, and I have to just generally speaking, you never have anything like this. The person who put their name, pushed themselves into this phony package, at the end, she comes out of it and she says, we went to the store and this is all bull crap.
The main dish at most Thanksgiving meals.
The turkey is the centerpiece.
The turkey and the dressing.
The turkey.
And more people now want them fresh.
I like the taste.
We think it tastes better.
But fresh turkeys may be harder to find this year, especially if you like them large.
10 to 16 pounds.
Manuel Rodriguez of Lucky Supermarket says Butterball, the nation's largest turkey producer, is advising markets around the country to expect fewer fresh birds.
We won't know until this week how many we're getting.
Butterball says it expects to ship about half its usual supply of big birds between now and Thanksgiving. The reason? The company says its tom turkeys, those that are supposed to weigh between 16 and 20 pounds, aren't eating. In a statement, it says, we experienced a decline in weight gains at some of our farms, and we are continuing to evaluate the potential causes. Some grocers are crying foul.
This is the Super Bowl of the turkey season.
But not to worry. Other turkey suppliers say they have their usual fresh stock, but Butterball does make up 25% of the market. And there should still be plenty of frozen birds out there. Just remember, large turkeys take 3 to 4 days to defrost, so you better buy them soon. And it's not too soon to buy a fresh turkey. If kept refrigerated, it should stay fresh until the big day.
2 to 3 weeks, there is an expiration date on the turkey. As long as the customer doesn't open up that nice seal, there should be no problem.
But don't wait too long or you may be out of luck. And that has some Thanksgiving cooks pondering some new recipes.
I'd probably get like another poultry, like roasted duck.
So how big a problem is this really? Well, today we actually saw fresh turkeys on sale for less than the frozen ones.
All right.
Yeah, well, she actually went out and did the follow-up and found the whole thing was bogus. I don't know why they ran the package at all.
Except to promote Butterball.
Yeah, well, they did promote Butterball, but at least they didn't just kill it there and just go on with another story. They said this Butterball thing is maybe dubious. And by the way, Butterball is the worst turkey out there as far as I can tell. They're tasteless. They stink. Get a heritage bird, people.
Well, I'm going to be all alone on Thanksgiving.
What?
Yeah. First of all, we have the show.
Yeah, we always do the show on Thanksgiving.
Right. And Mickey has a huge shoot she's doing in Los Angeles. And she said, hey, today, don't even think about it. Go.
Oh.
Yeah. So.
Why don't you fly out to the coast here? You can have dinner with us.
I'm not falling for that. No. I've done that. I did that 1 year. No. You won't let me up into the studio. I'm not interested.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's going to stay that way.
All righty. That's it. Have a good flight.
Thank you.
And, bullying. We got all kinds of stuff. Cool. Boy, it's been a quick trip. It's been weird doing it late at night, but we always do our best to bring you the value for value that you expect. And we hope you support that on Sundays for Sunday's show, Dvorak.org/NA, coming to you from a very chilly Gitmo Nation Lowlands. In the morning, everybody, I'm Adam Curry.
And from Gitmo Nation Mouse Ears, it's very balmy. I'm John C. Dvorak.
We'll talk to you again on Sunday right here on No Agenda.
Science.
Dvorak.org/NA.
The best podcast in the universe.